No?
There
Okay.
they go. Now they are. Now they are.
Yay.
I swear I've done this before.
A few times. A few times.
Oh man. uh, so he's got this re-roll of what the hell is this thing? Night Watch.
Mm-hmm.
Mm, it's
Your
so
scout rifle?
yeah, it's so fun. You go poop 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 and they die.
Color me shocked. Color me shocked about it is what you were like, yay.
I'm like, and it has explosive payload. The
Better.
only thing that would make this better is if I had Dragonfly on it. But that's why I have Trust with Dragonfly and
Well,
a
there you go.
Dragonfly spec on it.
And considering how much they're wanting us to use hand cannons again.
Oh my god, it makes things go boom, and then the other things go boom from it going.
Mm-hmm. That's how the Monarch works. It does, if you get a headshot, it doesn't even have to be a kill, just a headshot
Oh
with it
really?
procced. It will proc an explosion of poison to anything around it.
Oh, okay. Because
It
I've been
is.
hit by that thing a couple times, and I'm like, I didn't get hit. Like, so it must have been because someone got hit beside me.
You know what else is really, really good right now? It's a sleeper.
Pins.
Some people just want to see the world burn.
I
What is
sent
he?
I sent him a picture of my Trust when I first got it. I was like, "Look, Pins, it has precision, dragonfly, explosive payload, and then I put a dragonfly spec on it.
Oh my
It's
god.
like boom."
Hey, Mark the Bully. Oh
Oh,
man.
I remember
Yeah,
when I
no,
remember
the
when that dropped. I was like, I don't normally like hand cannons, but I like you.
Trust is a good hand cannon.
It's
Like, doesn't
fun.
matter what roll,
It's
it's a
accurate as hell
really
too.
good. I found another one that's as accurate, but it doesn't hit nearly as hard in the roll that I have. And I think if I get the right roll, it'd be really good. And it is my old fashioned, I think. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
the old fashioned. Because that has a vertical sway too.
Oh yeah,
And it
I think
it's got a
that's
really easy tempo.
yeah. I think that's kind of Trust has kind of a vertical recoil,
Hmm.
so it's like it's a lot easier to just pop pop like.
Yeah. Right now I have quick draw
Let's
and kill clip on this one, which isn't too bad. It's just not powerful enough. But the other thing that's super fun in freaking PvE right now,
Harpies. Yeah.
Trinity Ghoul.
Really? Is that come back now?
Hmm. Oh, the new masterwork, and it's got new perks. So instead of firing a splay of like splinter type thing where it splits,
Uh huh.
you fire one thing, and with the masterwork, it will basically arc chain to nearby enemies, so it'll take out a whole
Oh,
it's so good. It's so much fun to use
I'll have to go
during the
back and
event.
I've been so last night or not the last night, but the night before last, I was playing, and I was getting this same exotic just kept dropping, and I'm like, look, I don't want to play with it. Stop! I got 4 assassin cowls. I'm like,
That's what she said.
stop giving me this goddamn helmet. I don't want it, and it just kept
Yeah.
dropping. I was like, ugh. Like, give me something that I can actually
Mm,
use. Like,
yeah. I mean,
it looks cool, but
they're slowly reworking things, which is good. Do we want to actually start recording so we just do the show? Because we're kind of talking about it
yeah.
already.
Hang on, let me get to a place where I'm not getting vexed out. Oh shit, go away! Oh, moat's full. Shit, really? Oh, that's why.
Yeah.
Okay. Ah!
Bank. Or we can just wait until the end of this event. It's fine.
Yeah, it'll
But
be a couple
hi
minutes.
guys.
Taken or being annoying right now.
Hey,
Those aren't my
shit
taken. I
hit
love
the
how
fan.
I love how pissy he gets about it.
I
Get him
yeah.
away! Get him away!
I just love the banter at this point.
Listen, rat. Hey, names get around.
Mm. You know, it's so. I wonder how satisfying that was for Morla to record. Like, I kind of want to get her 2 cents on that one. Listen,
she's had
rat.
she's had some fun ones this season, like just like
Yeah,
the
she has.
banters.
It's been
Hey,
real
heavy
fun to
crate.
listen to. It's a
Yeah,
title.
I unlocked the perk with the heavy crate. Oh, that thing does so many benefits for this public event
Mm-hmm.
because it doesn't just
Yeah.
refill your heavy, which is what
Oh,
makes
I
it
know.
nice. I'm like, oh,
I
thank
know.
God. Ah!
I have.
Oh, does no one have
I've
a barrier
also.
piercing?
I'm almost finished rank 2
Oh
of
yeah,
that
nice.
because I've actually this season has gotten it to the point they've gotten me incentivized enough to where I'm willing to put on my Warlock and my Titan.
Yep,
I'm
same
actually
here.
on my Titan at the moment.
I ran all
They did it
three.
well.
I've run all three. I'm all done with rank 2, and I'm on the third row right now. Well, yeah, I'm on the third row. So I got rank 2 all done this
Nice.
week.
I'm almost there.
Of course, the whole triumph is bugged, so I'm still on gift 1.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, but I'm not.
But I finished.
I finished
Done the.
those. I've
I
done the
did the
thing. I
thing.
did the thing.
I did it.
The
No.
one that I'm
Uh,
actually nervous about is the heavy hitter triumph. I'm really hoping that they will retroactively give you credit for
right?
the
The
pyromaster.
monstrosity. Mm-hmm. Because the
Oh man,
monstrosity is the one that procced, right?
right? Yes. So last week monstrosity kept procking. I beat him like 3 or 4 times. I think ultimately I beat him 3 or 4 times because even though I wasn't getting the benefit or the triumph for it, it was still worth it to
Mm-hmm.
run just for the drops. And
Sure.
but I was reading the bug report. There were people who had run it like 25 times, and like it's probably for the same reason. They're probably farming it for the drops. But I mean, it's like that. I can see that being really a sore point.
Yeah.
Stop. Go
Yeah.
away,
Yeah.
Vex. You are vexing me. Ah!
But mom, it's my
That
homework
was a tether to
already.
your face. You made
Did
the
you put a?
you made the mistake of walking around that corner.
Are you using top tree or bottom tree for
Top
the
tree.
event?
Top tree.
Bottom tree actually will do a ton of damage to bosses. So if you have a team that's not
Okay.
very good at that, use bottom tree and just hit
Okay.
the boss over and over with the tethers because it
Is that
compounds the damage.
bottom is Mobius, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm so used to I'm still in the D1 mentality of like actually having to say which version of it. Like I just cuz I use top tree because I
Yeah,
really
Clover,
really like the
Black Hole.
enhanced well that I do like that, but also the enhanced radar. I cuz it helps with
Yeah.
farming runs.
Hey guys. Everybody in chat who is not normally in chat,
Oh,
welcome to chat.
thanks
Wave Rider
Pins.
and Pablito Savage.
I got a unicorn emote from Pins. Thanks Pins.
I got a pride emote.
I think that's what it might be.
Nope, mine looks like Amanda. Amanda holding a heart with a pride
Oh,
flag. That's what
nice.
I'm going to say it is. It's totally not Amanda, but I'm going to say it is.
Go away. Oh. The one thing I don't like about not being able to run Blade Barrage is I don't have my throwing knives, so unstoppables are really hard to stagger. I
Yes.
can't. I'm so used to just having that little cheap like pop pop. Oh, that was an explosion.
Ada's murder. Ada's murderous rampage discussion win soon.
A what now?
We're just waiting. Well, I think that is code words for what the fuck is Green going to say about this whole thing that just went down on Twitter.
Oh,
Um,
yeah. Yeah.
we're just waiting
Yeah.
until Blue finds a spot where he's not going
I
to
actually
die.
have a team of 2 other people, which is amazing that we're still playing the same event with only 3 of us.
Mhm.
They're actually doing a fair. I don't think this is going to be a heroic. I don't think we've gotten any blooms yet, but we're still
Sorry.
alive. I mean, the
Oh,
fact that we're still alive is pretty impressive.
that is something.
Oh
That
shit!
is something
Wasted that.
indeed.
God, this damn Hydra, go away. I will say, finalizers are fucking terrifying when I don't have audio on.
Telling you, you could just do what I do and port your
I know, yeah,
monitor's
I
audio.
could. I
It's
just,
so much easier. He has to focus, guys. You can't see the smoke coming out of his ears, but it's there.
there's a shit ton of Vex on the screen right now. Let's break the console. Tether! Look at the frames!
What frames?
That's what the Xbox just said.
Nope.
It's like,
Right.
what?
Nobody can see your frames, by the way, as well.
I know.
Look at those frames. Those fucking
Oh
frames.
my god. The
And
processing.
says I can attest to the smoke.
Uh,
Oh shit, guys.
you're dead. Go away,
Shit,
Minotaur.
shit. Motherfucker. Shit. Ballsack.
Hey, oh shit, we just, what? Oh no. We're in trouble. Someone just activated the
Yep.
heroic event. Ah! All the taken.
Is this season of Blue having a blast? It's kind of. I think it's the most fun he's had in Destiny in a while. Blue looks over to see who's the one who put it.
Yeah, I know.
It's very
It's Veru. Oh shit.
Pins. Whoa.
Thanks, Pins.
Thank you, Pins. That's a shit ton of bits, Pins.
I got 2 emotes. I'm gonna try to die. Thank you, Pins. I got I don't know which ones did I get. I got something splash and something pink crown. Ow! You're a bitch. Go away.
No.
Oh, that's the boss. That's
Mom
why.
said
That's why it hurts so much.
Mom said I could stay.
Oh my god. Well, it's just like splash damage is a thing. Jesus. You need to go away. Stop. Okay, thank you. All right, where'd you go? Tap. Boom. All right. Just start putting damage on this guy because we do not have a lot of time left.
Nope. Not for patience, not for all sorts of things. So Green says more special words in live than in recorded podcast version. There's my incentive to yes. So I just say we're not recording yet, so I'm not going to be PG just quite yet. And generally I say a lot more colorful words when we're not recording. If you ever get a chance to jump into a live stream with me when I'm streaming or when Issacol is streaming,
Especially when
I'm
Issachol's
not
streaming.
yeah, I'm just not PG. I'm really not. Like I can do it. I've been a teacher, so I've learned to do it, but there's a lot of things I'd like to say. Just like flag. Hey now. Green is never PG. I am. I'm suggestive, but I'm still PG.
Oh shit.
How's the audio level on your side?
It's fine on my side.
Okay.
Oh! Get him! Ah!
Get him. You get him.
We just had a Titan join, so now we have a Sentinel running around
Ah.
smacking him in the face with Captain America's shield.
That actually works a lot better. Pins, question on that. Do you run Sentinel or does anybody in chat run Sentinel? Because I have my Titan on and she's running Sentinel, but I don't know the benefit of the shoulder bash or like the shield bash versus throwing it
Come on.
damage wise. Oh yeah, Olivia Moon. Is that how you say her name? Mun?
Mun. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh
That was cool to find out.
no! God damn it!
Absolutely. Depends on what you're going to run for.
Ah,
an
well, we got
exotic.
50%. All right,
Well,
whatever.
I have 0 exotics on at the moment because I have maybe 40 hours on this Titan. So I really don't have
I don't
much.
have any exotics on my Titan, but I run Sunbreaker because I found the what's the tree? It's the tree that you could throw the little hammer and it bounces off things and you can pick it back up.
Mhm.
I literally just
Mhm.
run around and bonk people on the head with it.
Yeah, it's basically old trip mines,
Yeah.
but Titans get it.
Well,
I
I mean, it
prefer
doesn't
them.
really explode that I've noticed, but it
No,
does
but
hit
it's
pretty hard.
yeah. You can
Middle
do a
tree.
one
Yeah.
shot and then take them out pretty easily. Doomfangs equals bottom tree, Ursa Furiosa middle tree, Helm of Saint for top tree. I don't know if I've ever used top tree before. I do have Doomfangs, so that's cool. Middle tree is Helm of Saint 14. I do not have Helm of Saint 14. And then that
Sneak lunch boxes. That was amazing.
oh, I do have Ursa Furiosa. Thank you. Block damage with Sentinel Shield for more super energy. Got it. That's what they use. Nice. Frisbee Golfer Supreme. Nice. Good to know. Thank you for the Titan tips. Are you
Yeah.
finished? I'm assuming since I hear clickety clack.
Clickety 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 clack.
Clickety 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 clack. I need to figure out a warm up thing for when I'm doing cards because it takes me about 20 minutes to get
Your voice?
all the words. Well, all the words in my
Oh,
mouth
I was gonna say
because hard.
the voice thing. All we always were told to do the coffee song.
The coffee song.
Mm-hmm.
You know you have to do the coffee song now.
I'm not doing it on air. I will do it for you
Why
off
not?
air. I'm not doing it on air. It's been
Aw,
that, and also I haven't. I honestly don't know if I even remember it. I'll have to go look it up. But like in choir, that's what we always had to do.
we always did tongue twisters. Mr.
Yeah.
Shady. That one was very popular. But are you ready to start recording a little bit? Or hit
Yes.
the record button?
Yes.
All right. 3, 2, 1, click.
Huzzah.
Huzzah indeed. Huzzah, huzzah, huzzah. Yeah, no, we did Mrs. Shady or Mr. Shady. We did America the Beautiful quite a bit, where you
Claps.
had to actually America the Beautiful, every other syllable hard as fuck.
Wait, what? Every other
So
syllable?
yeah, so or not America the Beautiful, My Country 'Tis of Thee, my treat of sweet
Why would you do
of
that to yourself? That sounds
to
horrible.
make your well,
That sounds
it's
horrible.
clever. It's clever as shit because it makes you think the music as you're singing it. You
Oh,
have to
okay.
think the extra syllables. So
So
you
you're
have
basically
to
forcing
know
yourself to sight read.
you're forcing yourself to focus. It's a
That
really
too.
great trick for acquired kids. Anyway, but yes, that one's fun. There's a bunch of different ones I know, but those are my favorites. So, should we just start the show and then I do the green destroys the shit out of Say No to
What do you
Rage,
want to do?
or
Do you want to do top three first, or do you want to do the show
yeah.
first?
Let me pull up top 3 stuff because I forgot to pull up top 3 stuff because I'm so preoccupied with the shit that's going on Twitter.
Sorry.
Not your fault. Not your fault.
I feel like I was the one that was like, "Hey, Green, look at it. Look at it.
You really
It's a
did because I
it's a
had a
thing.
massive headache. I had
It's
a
a thing
massive
that's going
headache.
down." And
You saw it before I did,
it
so good
keeps
for
getting
you.
bigger.
Yeah, that's what she said.
Oh.
Wait.
Oh shit, they started a public event. Gotta go.
God damn it. Okay. You ready?
Yes.
Sorry, chat. You're gonna have to wait a little bit longer for Green to go crazy. I'll put another tweet out. Okay? We're gonna do top 3 first. All right. Let me look at the chat again. What we decided on what we're gonna do. We're gonna do top 3 lore that's not
Game lore
game
other
lore
than
other
Destiny.
than this. Gotcha.
Mhm.
Okay. Welcome to FFC Top 3, a show where we, your FFC hosts, count things down from 3 to number 1. Thank you for joining us this week. Thank you to the live chat for joining us in Twitch. I don't know anymore. If you have a suggestion for a top 3, be sure to drop us a note on Twitter at FocusFireChat, in our Discord, or even email us at focusfirechat@gmail.com. This week, I thought about discussing the fact that Green cannot read her own script half the time, but instead,
Am I twitching? Am I twittering?
Am I twitching? I don't know. It's not actually in the script. I was ad-libbing that. So.
Did you see his video today?
I did.
Chat's full of rats.
For those in the future, Mylan Games has been posting these marvelous, absolutely brilliant going live tweets where it's a video clip of him doing these little skits, and
it's like watching a descent into madness, and it's absolutely glorious because it's an Australian descending into madness, which
is
kind of
beyond what's normal.
Yeah, like I think they're already kind of crazy anyways. Logs also got a couple good ones recently. His did you see the his sorrowful announcement about being a professional Twitch streamer?
Oh my god. His troll. He's such a troll.
I love him. I love him to death.
It's so good. No, Mylan's has been fun. My favorite so far. We could do top 3 Mylan games introductions.
Yeah.
There's enough out there where we could theoretically do that.
We could do that, yeah.
My favorite, just for spoilers for our future top 3 that is now ruined, is Mylan's lawnmower bit.
What to do with the ones who aren't ready.
Yep.
You can also do.
You know how you're in the tower and there's that one guy who takes forever to get ready to go do whatever raid, whatever crucible, just take forever. There are a few other things you could do. And he just goes on, and then randomly at the end, you can so. He has a lawnmower running. He's screaming into his headset. Hello.
There's a kangaroo.
Yeah, no. You can't see him. He's off screen right now. Yeah, Mylan's a hoot. But getting back to top 3, this week Blue and I decided to do top 3 game lore that is not Destiny. So any other game lore
with the caveat that I was not allowed to do Elder Scrolls for all 3 of them.
Correct. I basically said
that was the nice version of the message that I got.
Yours cannot all be bleeping Elder Scrolls.
Which is fine.
Also, to note, he never responded to that, so I wasn't sure if he actually saw it and followed through on that until just now.
I was tempted to be like, I'm just going to show up, but then I might die, so...
Yep. But yes, so we're going to do top 3 game lore that is not Destiny. Blue's going first. I'll finish it out since there's only 2 of us tonight. So go for Blue number 3.
My number 3 is actually Halo, simply because it's not because. So most of these, first off, let me backtrack a little bit. This one was actually really difficult because there are tons. I didn't restrict mine to video games because video games actually. There's really only a few video games that I find the lore like super involved with. And I'm sure there's 3 video games, but I felt like this would be more interesting if I did outside of video games as well. So this will also include just regular tabletop games. But my listing actually doesn't have anything to do with the quality. It's actually my familiarity with it. Because all of the ones that I have, I've been blown away with as far as like the quality of it. So that being said, with that caveat, I'm going to say number 3 for me is Halo, just simply because, again, what I do know about the Halo lore is it's fascinating. And I know a fair amount, but I don't know nearly as much as some of the other people that are in our chat, like Pins. And then there's like the Podtacular team that does their stuff. I mean, there are people out there who are masters at the information. But yeah, so that's my caveat there is just the amount of information that's available is just staggering.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's one of the things that I was trying to decide when I was picking out my list of how much of my list is dependent on how much lore is out there, because there's a difference in story quality that is concise versus the huge amount of lore, right? Like we've
Right.
talked about that a little bit. You can have a really hugely fleshed out world, but if the main story gets lost or whatnot, which is the reason that a certain series that's going to be on your list is not going to make my list.
Oh yeah, no,
So I do love it.
it's completely reasonable. If
Right.
you water it down with too many side stories, I totally get that.
Yeah, absolutely. So my number 3 is actually going to be the Overwatch series. Their
Yep.
lore is not really in game, it's only in cuts and shorts, and there's some flavor text stuff you can say because of the titles of different types of skins. But the Overwatch lore has enough for a fan fiction bonanza if you ever decide to go down that dark path. There are tons of
What?
people who write not only like lore oriented ones, but there's also some fun ones out there. What?
Fun air quotes.
Hey. There's some really great writers out there for the
There's a
fan fiction.
particular rule about the internet that applies to some of that fan fiction.
There's a rule
Anyways,
for the internet that applies to everything because thanks to Avenue 2, the internet is for
everything. Everything.
no. There's a whole song and dance number about what the internet is about, and I can't say it for the kids. I'm gonna type it in chat. Anyway. So what's fun is that chat will show up before the sound gets there. The number 2s.
And
number 2.
chat's gone. Oh, number 2 for me is Elder Scrolls, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, number 2. And it's mostly Elder Scrolls is one of those video games that does a fascinating job for me of like scratching the fantasy role-playing game itch. Like they just and you know, mechanics aside, because I fully acknowledge that there are some shenanigans that go on with Bethesda games. Just go look at any of the Fallout series to see what I mean. The storyline is actually really fun. Like it just really is. And I really like the way that Bethesda has done where the story, your choices actually have weight in them. I'm not going to lie. I judge a lot of games that have morality stuff based decisions off of Fallout 3 because I am so in love with the effect that your choices had within that storyline. It would actually alter the entire game depending on if you chose A or B. I think it's just really it's like the best parts of a tabletop role playing game, but it's a first person shooter-esque game, which makes it even more fun. And that's the same way that I felt. That's actually the way I felt about Oblivion, to be fair.
Okay, I mean, I enjoyed Oblivion. I totally cheated my way through that game.
Oh yeah.
But
Well, I mean, I think once people figured out that you could do certain things, yeah, it's
5 invisibility rings of 20% invisibility.
Listen, you have 10 fingers. It's totally reasonable that you could work.
It was great. I had never finished a AAA title like that until that game.
Oh, really?
I really wasn't like, there's not a ton of games that I've put a ton of time into. I've played a lot of games, but just not very much of each. So my number two is going to be Borderlands series. So the Borderlands series with Handsome Jack and oh gosh, Claptrap and all of them. It's mainly
I'm
because it's
dancing.
just I can I
That's
just
the
say I'm
tamest
oh my
quote that
god,
I could put on
right?
here.
There's a certain stallion that shows up in Borderlands 2
Yeah, it's.
very early on.
Oh my god,
He
I
is a
love it.
running gag through the
I love it.
entire series. Oh,
And it's
but
so great because the entire reason he
stallion.
exists is as an insult to the player.
Uh-huh. He is. It's amazing. No, I actually really like the comedy writing in Borderlands. It doesn't take itself seriously. Not even when it has serious moments, it doesn't really take itself seriously, which is fun and refreshing.
Mm-hmm.
Not everything is gloom and doom. That being said, we're going to get to number ones, which are going to change things up a little bit.
Mine is Forgotten Realms, tabletop.
Okay.
Without hesitation. Like as soon as we started, like as soon as you were like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Let's do game lore," and I was like, I knew that D&D was going to be there, and I wanted to narrow it down to Forgotten Realms just simply because Forgotten Realms has probably one of the most well thought out, like extensive lore that is in books. That's not just like
Mhm.
it's not just games; it's actually books as well, and that's
Well,
where
there's
that's actually.
isn't it
Go ahead.
like 50 different books, like short
Mm.
titles?
Yeah, yeah. Well, because like Greenwood was the creator of it, and it's based off D&D, but is a specific realm within D&D. And
Mhm.
so like one of his main characters was Elminster, and Elminster's like story arc is just this really really traditional fantasy. So it's nothing like super groundbreaking or super new, but it's fun to read, and
Mhm.
like it was one of those things that growing up, I had Dragonlance and Forgotten Realms were just like two of the fantasy staples that I read. And so when we got, and you have like R.A. Salvatore wrote some of Forgotten Realms with his Dritz series, which was again very stereotypical fantasy, but for like a kid getting used to that stuff, it was just very easy to get into. It was very like the characters were easy to connect to and all that, and it really did a good job of like showing, oh hey, stories can transcend quite a bit, and they're really there's like a lot of things that can go. And then they came out and they're like, oh yeah, that's also a game for D&D. And it was like, what? Like it was just one of
Mhm.
those first moments where you're like, I realized the trans, like what has now been referred to as transmedia, but like that entire concept was really not a super familiar one back then. Um, Mostly because we didn't really, at that time there weren't really video games like Destiny and all that.
Sure.
And so like that was just growing up. Forgotten Realms has been such an active part of my own RPG history. So
I really wish I had more of a background in the actual lore for D&D,
mm,
but
yeah,
ironically, I have a really decent background in a particular game that was ongoing for about 6 years.
which to be fair
Like,
on base D&D is kind of that's the sad thing about base D&D is that there's really like they've gotten better about it, but like AD&D and D&D 3.5, it was they were all homebrews. Like it was designed for homebrews.
yeah.
It wasn't designed so for like when you had Forgotten Realms and all these other things, they they were kind of sold like there was a Dragonlance and Greyhawk and all that, but they weren't like that wasn't their main focus up until like 3.5 was when they kind of focused in on Forgotten Realms particularly. But AD&D it was all just what you were just saying, like everyone had their own campaign, and that was canonically what was going on with that thing. So
Yeah. D&D. It's a good choice.
what's your number one?
My number one actually is one that we did on the show. And it's still one that I've actually not completed the gameplay of, but I've been able to talk about it with a few other people, which doesn't necessarily give you any clues. Horizon Zero Dawn.
Oh yeah, you see
It
the sequels coming out.
I
Saw it.
did, and I'm excited to see the story on it. I think the story is brilliant. Like I I would love to play the game, but it's not necessarily on my to-do list because of how much time I'm putting into Destiny. But the story that is written up for that game is enough where I remember it past the when we were doing the extra lores, and I really enjoyed it. And there was a gentleman I used to work with when I worked at the shoe store
Oh
who was
yeah,
in his
yeah.
70s who bought a PlayStation for the first time in his 70s. He never played any sort of video game whatsoever. And the very first game he decided he was going to play was Horizon Zero Dawn because he was working on dexterity. And he and I had a lot of fun chatting about the different story elements and the gameplay elements and how things work and why. And it was really, really nice to be able to kind of use that information that I had learned during extra lore to kind of push his knowledge a little further. But yeah, so did you have any
Yes.
also rams this week? Yeah.
Yes. So like one of the first ones that I wanted to include, but I was like ultimately it sadly didn't make it because the game there was legal issues and they never completed it, was Too Human. If you have not played that game, I feel like I've said this before multiple times, but if you have not played Too Human, I really strongly suggest going and getting a copy. Like if you can find one, it's very difficult to find a copy these days because of the legal issues. They basically came out that they had stolen the hardware. It was a big no
Ugh.
no. Yeah, it was like once all the stuff came out, it was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Still an awesome game from a storytelling perspective. The mechanics were actually not horrible, but the storytelling was just it was a top notch story. It was very the best I can explain it is very similar to the Norse mythology a la Marvel Universe. So like kind of like that advanced civilization more than supernatural thing, which was really really interesting in the way that they did it in the game. Other than that, gosh, I had Overwatch, Star Wars, No Man's Sky, actually, for the same reason as with your Horizon Zero Dawn. The actual story in No Man's Sky is really thought provoking when you start finding out what exactly is going on with that universe. Overwatch was, I think I said that. Doom and Diablo are two really good ones. I know Bife is doing Doom. No, Bife's not doing
So
Diablo.
Beard was doing Doom as
So was
well.
he? Okay. Doom has a very, not only is it historically a very colorful history, the actual story is really interesting too. Like it's actually really kind of intriguing seeing all the connections that it has with that studio's own titles themselves. Wheel of Time is another one. Cyberpunk
Wait,
2077.
Wheel of Time
Tabletop
has its own.
tabletop RPG. Yeah,
Oh, gotcha. That
it's
makes more
one
sense.
of the tabletop RPG is one of the best Magic systems that I've played. Still, it's an old D20 system, and then Witcher. Witcher was the other one for me.
Witcher's really good. Witcher's on my list. Fabled, like the Fabled trilogy,
I
the
see. I
old
never.
like
I couldn't get
I
past the art style. Is my problem
right.
with Fable.
Yeah, and that's fair. It's totally fair. It was very it was harsh but not at the same time. Kind of it was
Yeah.
a little cartoony, little youthful, but it was a ton of fun to play and it gave you that ability to make your decisions and have those decisions make a huge impact on the world.
If you ate a baby
Also,
chicken, you were a monster.
chickens, not even eating the baby chicken. If you kicked the ding chickens,
Then you were a
They would
dead
all attack
monster.
you.
Then you
You
were a
were a
dead
very
monster.
dead person. Yeah. Yeah. No. No. Yeah, no. Beyond Two Souls made my list. That was actually my introduction to PlayStation games. That the beauty of that, not only the story, but also just the art, because it was pretty cutting edge at the time, if I remember correctly, as far as the ability to get to that realism line and just barely just brush up against it. And then the one that you sort of, you didn't say it, but you jogged my memory, Senua's Sacrifice. Great,
Yeah, that
great
is true. That
story.
is actually one of the very few games that I have actually sat down. I haven't played it, but I sat down and watched
Watch the movie.
the game video that someone made. I
Mm-hmm.
watched that whole thing
Mm-hmm.
back to back twice.
I did too. I did too.
Uh, that ninja, I think it was Ninja Theory did that one. Simply amazing work on so many different
Yeah.
levels.
That one was good. That one, like, there's some of the extra lore type things when I was doing research, I would fall asleep to.
Mm-hmm.
Legend of Zelda, Final Fantasy.
Those must have been
Um,
interesting dreams.
yeah, no.
Which one of the parallel universes did you wake up in? Oh
I
God!
mean, it's just there's a point where it becomes too much for
Oh yeah.
a hour-long video even to really explain, even if it's supposed to be a short version. I had dreams of Tifa. No, I wish that would have made them much better. Um, and yes, I know who Tifa is. She's all over cosplay websites. Anyway, we should wrap up this top three.
Cosplay
So,
websites. Yes. We'll go with
uh,
that.
yep. Anyway, thank you guys for listening to Top 3. Thank you guys for hopping into the live chat for us. Be sure, if you are in live chat, to stick around for the next recording, because we're going to be doing Focus Fire Chat proper after that. And yeah, remember, everybody loves a list.
This
Tifa
fucking
punches tanks and wins. Tifa could punch anything and win. It doesn't matter if it's a tank or if
why is
it's
she a twig
AJ.
lady? That's the thing that like always threw me around with Tifa is that she is tiny.
But it's like, did you ever watch Ruby?
Yeah.
She's
Ruby's the
Yang.
same. Yeah.
Yang is the,
Oh, Yang. Yeah.
like,
You know
Yang
that
is the older sister, but she's
right.
also like a Tifa character.
I need to go back and finish Ruby.
It's so
I think I got to
good.
like season 3.
You missed your
Oh.
first. No, you haven't missed your first time
Oh, we're
viewing.
just getting
We haven't
started.
started the main one. Yeah. Black
Oh.
Flag and I both have a love of Ruby.
Yeah, well, and they have don't they have a comic for it too?
Ruby?
Or is it
It's
just
kind of a manga-esque, isn't
okay.
it? Hmm. But so we're doing the mechanical stuff and the changes that have been made for the first, or do you want to wrap it all into one for the initial
I
thoughts?
think doing mechanics and then doing lore because I think
Okay.
the first mechanics one's going to be not started until like 30 minutes. Cuz I hear that
Why?
Ada 1 has a rampage that she needs to go on.
Oh, well, okay. Are we going to put this in the episode is my question.
I you know my feelings on it, so I don't care.
Right. Okay, so let me tweet it out real quick and then we will make this happen. We will make this happen. Green is going to go all Mama Bear.
Oh, Wheel of Time. Yeah, we'll have to do an extra lore with Wheel of Time. That's a
Sure.
fun series.
That'll actually force me to finish it.
It's what I
Because
was
I
just thinking
haven't.
too. I think I'm on like I think I've read up to book 12, and then
You're better than me. I think I made 3.
oh really? Oh yeah, shit.
Yeah, I
You
just
missed a lot. Like
I
There's
wouldn't mind doing
oh
an
shit,
extra
like
lore on the Sanderson books.
yeah, I need to finish that one. I will say that he has exceeded my expectations, and I fully admit that you were right. Uh,
Oh, this is recorded
I
for
don't know. Hey,
posterity's
look,
sake.
look. I'm always open to being proven wrong with
Yeah,
books. Like I will be the first to admit that there are so many books out there that I make snap judgments on things that if someone then comes back and be like, actually, no, don't do that. I'm like, all right, cool. I'll give it a chance. Um, it works the opposite way too, because I won't touch any of Orson Scott Card's books once I
sure.
found out the shit that he does.
Yeah.
Um, like his stories aren't bad, but like when you start getting into the undertones of his stories, it's just bleh, like bleh.
Stormlight series is fantastic. That's the one I'm having him read right now, Pizza Train. Um,
I thought it was.
the Mist, yeah, it's Stormlight Chronicles is technically
Oh.
the name of it. The
Okay. Ender's Game was good.
the
Ender's Game was good. My problem with Ender's Game is not the surface story. My problem is the subsequent stories and what it implies with
Correct.
his own political and social views.
What's wrong with Xenocide? With the dash eyes.
Just ask Ender.
You
He could
scare
answer that
me
question.
sometimes. You
Xenocide?
scare me sometimes, Ziona. Just no. Mistborn is the other one that Brandon Sanderson did. That's also
Mistborn, that's the one that you're saying has the other magic system,
magic
right?
system.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little less polished than
Mm-hmm.
Stormlight Chronicles, in my opinion, as far as like the character development, but still a pretty good series. A little bit more of a candy read.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah. Stormlight has it it feels like it's got like that organic. Oh, the other magic system actually. Now that I'm talking about books, this is dangerous.
Mhm.
Two other series that have really good magic systems that are also really original, and I think you've read both of them. Is the Dark Crystals or not Dark
Yep.
Crystals? Black
Dark
no
Brotherhood.
no
Black
no no the
Dark Brotherhood's a romance series. Never mind. I know which one you're talking about that
I
has the
God, I just
witch and they're
blended
in
like
the
yes.
demon land.
Yes,
Yeah.
awesome series. Also, the blending has
I don't
elemental magic.
don't I don't remember that one.
I will have to see if I have copies, and I will send you a copy of the first book,
Okay.
because like it's similar to the Dark Jewels. Dark Jewels, that's what it was.
Hmm.
It's similar to the Dark Jewels, but it's like a combination of Dark Jewels and Kashyyyl. So
Kushiel's
it's
Dart is great.
yeah.
Yes.
So like it's more political. It's more like realistic politicalness, but it's got
Hmm.
it's got magic system like the Black Jewel or the Dark Jewels. Yeah, that's because
Interesting.
you're
Okay.
stuck in a military base. So that's your choice.
I like how Chad is like, what? dot dot dot. She's so happy with herself, so pleased. All right. So, time to vent.
Do you want to start the episode,
What?
or do you want me to?
Yeah, go ahead and start the episode.
Okay. Welcome to Focus Fire Chat, recorded live on June 19th, 2020, over on twitch.tv/Focus Fire Chat. As always, want to give a big shout out to our live chat here with us tonight. Thank you so much for joining us once again. This week's episodes are going to be a chance for the team to weigh in on their initial thoughts of this new season of the Arrival, or season of Arrivals. Sorry, I keep wanting to put the Arrivals, but it's not. This particular episode will serve as what we have come to call the intro session of the week's explorations. So we will probably be breaking this into the intro session will probably be more focused on mechanics and like our thoughts on the gameplay and stuff, which I know lore podcast mechanics probably not too meshing with what you've come to assume from us. The advanced session will be where we jump into what we have seen so far of the lore, and it's gonna be a good one. Before we go any further, however, let's run through a quick introduction of who we have with us on the show. As always, this is your host, Blue Crew 86.
And this is the infinitely enraged green-eyed music lover. Strap in, boys and girls.
Mama Bear triggered.
Yes. So, as of, what was it, a few hours ago? It wasn't even that long ago. Jeez. There was 2 hours ago. That's all long. Wow.
Well,
That thing
I
blew
mean,
up
to be
fast.
fair,
Oh,
it has been going on for a very long time,
correct. But
obviously.
2 hours ago on Twitter, there was a revelation made about a particular streamer who has been very inappropriate and harassed multiple women. And it started out with one, Jules, and then it snowballed into this huge avalanche of women coming forward saying that Lono or Say No to Rage had done this, done that, done this to me, done that to me. And the amazing thing that the community did, there were some bad stuff. There's a lot of bad stuff on those threads too, but
Yeah.
amazing thing that the community did, the community rallied around them and helped hold them up and not villainize them. Vilify, there we go, that's the actual word. Not vilify them for saying their story. And it's incredibly important that the community did that. Not only did normal community members, you guys who are listening, people on Twitter that are just always on Twitter, people who are in our live chat, not only did you guys rally around them, but also Bungie rallied around them.
No, it wasn't just Bungie.
Cosmo, yeah, Cosmo, DMG, um, Deej, all three of them rallied behind them. Rare Drop came out, Gathalion came out and said that Rare Drop had basically done everything in their power except, like, they could not legally prevent him from coming to the event, but they basically made it as difficult as possible for him to be considered a content creator. He was revoked content creator privileges and all sorts of things with that. And then the sponsorship that Say No to
Two.
Rage has.
Two of them have now.
Two? Oh, I didn't see the second one.
Just
I
the
saw the
last
first
hour.
one.
Just the last hour.
Okay. They have both withdrawn their sponsorships of him, which is a huge, huge, huge thing that it happened so very quickly. And it's a important thing that these women had, in a lot of ways, corroborators within the community who allowed them to hold their story until they were ready to say it. Because I can say, as a person who has gone through not only sexual harassment, but also, it's not necessarily PG, and I'm sorry for that, Jay, but
Nope.
but also going through rape as well. And it's important to be able to come to it in your own time and your own terms. Yes, you can bring up the issues early on and try to protect yourself from whatever or whomever it is, but the ability to process it is incredibly important. So I'm very proud of those community members who allowed them to do that. I know Dr. Lupo was also one of those who had mentioned that he had known about it from the beginning. Goth knew about it from the beginning. I'm very proud of those guys. Now, here's my call to action for you guys. For those of you who are rallying around, awesome. Women too, rallying around. Everyone stays together. But here's the big, big but. This is only one instance. This is only one time. Not necessarily one time in a series of things. Obviously, it's just Say No to Rage right now. But this thing happens so very often in the world where women are put into positions, and men too. Don't get me wrong, there are plenty of men who get put into positions, whether or not they are gay men or straight men, get put into positions that they are not comfortable in. Women, men, if you are ever in that position where you see something like that happening, stand up for them then. Do not turn away. especially if you see a guy just being very creepy and you see a woman or another guy or whoever is getting hit on look uncomfortable, don't let that friend or acquaintance or even stranger do that. Because if you can break that initiation, it'll stop it before it turns so much worse. So please don't let this event that happened in the 2-3 hours that it's been end there. Please take that forward. That is my mama bear pleading for you guys to do something about it, because there's too many people out there who get hurt every day. So many community leaders, myself included, have been raped. It is a thing that happens. It is not a good thing, it is not a happy thing, but it is a thing that happens. And no, I did not ask for it. I was drugged. And I had friends with me. And guess which friends did not stand up for me? That being said, thank you for what you are doing, but do not be complacent. Okay, I am done.
So, season of the arrivals. I don't really have a segue. Like
Yeah,
there's
not.
no really clever segue out of that. So
No,
just
there's not. It
you'll
happens.
listeners will forgive me for just letting that be its thing. And I mean, I think for what it's worth, like chat's saying right now, our condolences to everyone, whether or not it's involved in this situation or other situations. It's never acceptable, and it's never. Yeah, I don't know how to put into words the the feeling that it like gives me, because especially people that I am close to, when I find out stuff about this thing, it's very very tough for me to process it from a bystander's point. I can't even imagine that. So, you know, I think one of the other really cool things is the number of very big creators out there, not just content creators, but like there's been publishers and stuff and whatnot who have come out and basically said, hey, look, if something's happening and we're at an event and we're at a bar. I can't remember who it was. It was one of the comic book artists from
Mm-hmm.
I think it was DC, but he basically said, "Look, here's my open invitation. If someone is making you uncomfortable and you see me, just come up and say." And he gave like I think it was like swordfish or something. Like he basically gave out a code word. And he's like, just say this, and I will immediately be like, oh yeah, just sit down with me and we'll have a conversation. Like I will rudely butt into anything to make
Oh
sure that this
yeah.
doesn't happen. And that's the thing is like I
Y-
what you were saying about breaking the initiation cycle. I think that's a huge component.
It really is. Because a lot of times, these things start in a social setting.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't start in a hotel room. That's not where it starts. It starts in a social setting. And there are almost always people around. So when you see somebody in an uncomfortable position, or if you are yourself in an uncomfortable position, figure out a buddy essentially there, or have somebody that you can trust there with you. I do not drink in excess anymore in public. I do not drink hardly at all anymore because of my whole ordeal myself. So there are steps that you can personally do, and it will change your life. But having people out there, if you're at a convention, there are multiple people out there who have your back. I know
Mm-hmm.
that Isabel has offered herself as a way to interact or intervene if she needs to, if you DM her. Like, that's really hard to do in a convention setting because of the amount of people there. But have somebody there who can be that person for you to help break that cycle. and get you out of there. Because if you're uncomfortable, you do not you do not owe that person who is talking to you and making you feel uncomfortable anything.
Nope.
You do not owe them politeness. You do not owe them the time of day if they are making you uncomfortable. You can tell them to right fuck off.
Yeah. And I think the thing a lot of times when, like, from my experience, but not having gone through that particular thing, but seeing like uncomfortable. I hate social situations. So for what it's worth, if you catch me in a social situation and you need me to step in, I'm more than happy to use that as an excuse to get out of the social situation, because I don't like social situations. But I think a lot of times what you just said there that strikes my purpose is that people are so focused on making sure that they don't come across offensive. It's like, guys, follow your gut instinct. If you feel uncomfortable around somebody, you're not feeling that for no reason, like, except for me, because I don't feel comfortable around anybody. But I'm okay with that. But like, if you're in a social situation, if you're in a social situation and you feel like you need to get out, get out. Like that's I know it sounds stupid, but that's what basically it boils down to, is like, follow your gut. Even if, I mean, it's okay to be rude to people if your gut is telling you to get out of there. I don't know how, if you need my permission, that's it, for what it's worth.
Yeah. I think Blue and I both would agree that if you run into us in a convention and you need help in a situation,
absolutely,
either one of us
no questions
would be
asked.
able to help. Granted, that means you have to know what we look like and not just listen to our voice. So follow us on Twitter.
We have been found out by our voices before. That was
That is true.
That is an interesting experience.
That was. Anyway, let's go ahead and move beyond this a little bit and talk about a different.
Yes, let's talk about something.
Topic.
Let's talk about something much more fun and much more amazing. Is this season? I believe chat has deemed it the season of Blue enjoying Destiny, which is accurate.
Yeah,
it's only taken 11
so far. What season level are you on? What season level are you on at the moment?
23.
Okay, so I am at season level 35, but I had saved up bounties.
I was about to say, you preloaded bounties, right?
Mm-hmm. So you have played about as much Destiny as I have, if not more, this season, and that's saying something. Because I play a lot.
Listen, I'm not gonna lie. Part of the reason is, given the environment of the world. I have been, with my job, I've been super lucky and super blessed to still have a job, but B, because of the nature of what I do is more programmatic. Like, I basically create and design programs for a financial company. And so what we do is we basically code all day. We're not really required to be at any particular physical location. Mm-hmm. And so when this whole thing went down, it was basically, we were in the office, and literally our manager came out and said, "Okay, pack up, you're going home." And we were kind of like, "Wait, are you still," like, we had been joking about it, so we were kind of like, "Are you serious? Like, what's going on?" And she was like, "Nope, you going home. We will contact you when we find out, when you can expect to be back." And that was at the start of March. So I have been working from home 100% since then, and our entire team has, actually. And so what that means is that all the time that I have been, driving to and from the office and everything like that, it's really been dedicated to either working or, just I have a lot more free time. Not to say that it's like super free, but it's also really easy if we're like on conference calls that we're just sitting there, talking about stuff. if we get on and pick up bounties or get on and do like minor things, like a lot of stuff that normally would take 20 minutes, 30 minutes throughout the night, you can do during the day and be done. So that has eliminated and presented an opportunity of putting a very efficient process for me to get stuff. That being said, I'm not going to lie, when Green messaged me and she was like, so you getting the season title? I was like, I never get season titles, so I don't care about them. She's like, look at what it is. It's freaking Forerunner. Like, I'm like, I don't even have, like, I think the first thing I did was I messaged Pins and I was like, Pins, you getting this?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, God bless it. Now I got to figure out what all this stuff is. And I think by the time I got done figuring out what was required, I was like, I've invested freaking 6 hours figuring out what in the hell I'm supposed to do to get it. It felt like, at this point I might as well just chase it. And, I will be honest, I have set aside specific benchmarks to try to get it. And if it works, that's awesome. If it doesn't work, because we have things, coming up, then it won't work. But I think that I think the other thing that has come into is that it's finally gotten to the point where my playstyle has aligned with the way Destiny, or the way Bungie wants you to play Destiny. So, which it's really funny, because when I look at all the complaints out there, it's like, well, it's like they're saying this is how we want you to play. I'm like, yeah, that's what I've been saying for I don't know how long at this point. It's like, I mean, it's the downside of a game. Look, it's a system, it's a closed system. You have to have certain things, and that's just the way it is. And I mean, like, last season was not in my opinion, was not the best. It was better than the season before from my perspective, because I didn't appreciate the requirements. I think that the choices that they've made for like the public event is pretty interesting. The other thing is like it doesn't take forever, because they put a forced timer on it. Like, and so that to me makes it where I was telling Green before, it's interesting to me, because like you don't have like mediocre teams that join on public event. You either have a team that knows like what they're doing and they get their, I mean, it's locked down, and like, I try to play. Once I find a group like that, I try to just like puppy dog around with them, because it's like, you guys want to do more? Like, or you have teams who are like, what's a public event? I'm like,
Right.
just go stand over there. Which I think is not unique to this season though. But I don't know. Like, I've had a lot more fun. It feels like it's a much more open to being able to choose. I will be honest, the simplicity of I can never remember what it is, but the ramshackle decoder, which I
Umbral
love.
decoder.
That one. It's the ramshackle
Why?
cryptarch.
Why did you call it the ramshackle?
Because when I first saw it, I was like, oh, that's funny. That's the person who tells us all the information about Destiny. And then it was like, no, that's not. Oh, I don't know. My brain associates very odd things.
I hope she hears this.
I think she made the joke too. I think she even made the point.
Did.
I'm like,
she probably did.
It's just, I don't know. Like, and the thing is like with the Drifter, I've never been like super interested in, like, I've been interested in his story, but I've never like felt like, oh yeah, Gambit, blah blah blah. And it's like, which most people know. I think there's a running gag somewhere on the Twitterverse about how the new public event is forcing me to play Gambit. I think that like the way that they have brought a lot of the loose ends together to form the reasoning behind this season has been really well done. I think it's Julie Naren is the one that is the lead. Just the the narrative has been, which we'll talk about, next next episode.
Next season, we'll talk about this season.
Yeah, we'll talk about next season. Yeah, whenever I get a chance to finally digest the copious amounts of. I tweeted it, or I was messaging Guy, and I was like, "Man, this new lore is great." And I turned around, and you were like, "Hey, look, there's web lore," and I was like, "Guy, you're killing me! Like, you have to give me some time for my brain to process this stuff before you kill me with that more stuff."
There's so much going on this season with that. And that's not even, like, the web lore ties into next season, too.
Yes. Yeah.
But as far as, like, the mechanics of things that have changed, right? So we have the Umbral decoder, which you mentioned, the Ramshackle decoder. Mm-hmm. That's fun. I love the voice lines.
The voice. Yum, 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 yum.
Did you see Elliot? Elliot's like 3 hours. Like,
I told my wife. I told my wife about that. She's like, "Why?" I'm like, "Why not?" And she's just like, I can't. Just go away.
You know why? You want to know why? Tell Anna this. Bongo cat. That's why. Because people are sadist. Oh my lord. No, I love the lines on it because it very much so has that kind of claptrap Borderlands feel to it.
It's like Raoul, except nice.
But better. There's some lines that, like, I tweeted out a photo the other day because my hair being so long, a Drifter themed photo, and I looked up the new voice lines. I'm like, none of these sound safe. Like, every single one of them was not suitable for work.
Was that why you messaged me all of them? You're like, all of these out of context are bad.
Yes. Drifter is a dirty old man. Umbral decoder has some of the best lines for that, by the way. If you need pickup lines, Drifter's got you covered. But yeah, no, that's really cool. I do love the ability to focus your engrams. I think that's actually what that other thing, or prismatic recaster.
Yeah, prismatic recaster, that's the one.
So that is brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
Because it takes the menagerie style building of what you want.
Yes. Yeah.
Simplifies it. And is just like, hey, do you want a intellect focused umbral engram? It has these things inside of it. You get a chance for either an arm, a chest piece, a headpiece, or feet. And a lot of shaders.
I was reading, you can focus it down pretty far, can't you?
Oh yeah. Some of them will focus it to give you
it's
two
kind of
options.
buggy right now, but
yeah. So edge focus umbral engram is either the bow for this season or the sword.
Oh god. The bow.
I love the bow. It's
a longboard. If you get in trouble on Titan, you can surf your way out.
You know, honestly, I think that Link could use it in Breath of the Wild as a surfboard, because it is big enough. Let me tell you.
I was riding around with it on the tower, and I'm like, oh my god,
yeah,
this thing is.
You'll knock somebody out with it. It's as tall as Wishender, but way.
Yeah, you can't. I couldn't even see my hunter with it. When he was running around with it, it was like
it's airplane wings.
Yeah. Oh my god. And it's fun to shoot. It's like yes. I don't know. Like I know they tweak sandbox all the time. So like, but I usually you know me. I don't pay attention to most of it. But like to me, and I was talking to you a little bit about this. Like there's been. I know this is kind of a contentious subject. But the weapons having a cap means that like they've been recycling a couple of the weapons into this season. Like, but like I got a night watch, just like the scout rifles as a whole actually have been really much more fun to use. That and hand cannons I'm actually using hand cannons, which is beyond my understanding of what's happening.
Just wait till you get into sidearms.
No, I don't. I mean, I will try. I'll try them again. I should try them each season.
Here's one that you should try. You ready? It feels like a hand cannon. Here's the one you should try. Enigma's Draw.
Enigma's Draw. Okay, I'll
Mm-hmm.
try. I'll try to find one.
That
I'll be
one, I
honest.
think
I
it's gonna.
see sidearms, and I immediately dismantle them.
A lot of people do. That one actually feels like a pocket. It's a future war cult weapon, by the way. It feels
Mm-hmm.
like a pocket last word. It's a
Hmm. Okay.
little bit less less distance, obviously, than the last word, but it hits hard.
Well, they
It's a
added.
nice.
Did they add? They added a couple new sidearms, right? This season, or are they all? I
Uh,
can. I like I
there
said,
was
I
one
don't
last
usually.
season. I don't remember if there's one this season. I can look real quick. Um, I see auto rifle fusion, combat bow, sword, pulse rifle, and sword. So no,
Okay.
not seasonal weapons. It may
Oh
be
my
just a
god, the
rehash of
sword.
it.
Freaking
Which
Dark
one?
Drinker.
Guillotine?
Dark Drinker.
Yeah,
Oh
I
man.
think that's called
It's I don't know.
guillotine. It's
It's
so
no, the guillotine I thought the guillotine was the surfboard sword.
there's one that is
Temptation's
basically
hook. That's what it was.
yeah, so there's one that's essentially the arc sword from D1 that shoots the bolts, the arc bolts. I cannot
Oh
remember the
yeah.
name of it. Mm-hmm. And
I
then
have the
Dark
one
Drinker is the other
or
one.
no, yeah, that's the one I have. Is Temptation's Edge I think is the arc bolt one. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
it'll throw a disc out.
Bolt
It's fun.
caster. Thank you,
Yeah, yeah,
Killhorn.
yeah, yeah.
Or
All I know
yeah,
is I was using it and
Killhorn.
I like I said I don't pay attention to perks, which is my own thing. I'm not super I find guns that I like and I just kind of stick with them, which is going to be annoying because that means I'm going to have to find new guns because they're going to sunset them, which is fine. I'm not like I know that sounds like I'm moaning about it, but it's actually
Can I give you
it's
my two
good for
cents on
me.
that?
It's good for me. It forces me to
Can I
do something. What's up?
Here's my two cents on that. So the Night Watch, the one that you just got that you absolutely love, that was your
Mm-hmm.
baby back in year one.
No, that was Midnight. No,
Mm,
no, my
Midnight,
uh,
Nameless Midnight.
Nameless Midnight. I still have that gun, by the way.
Yeah.
I have been slaving away getting that thing updated. That thing's a tank, is what that thing
I mean,
is.
right. And there's some weapons that are just super, super easy to use. Like you'll be able to continually use Nameless Midnight.
Mm-hmm.
They're not getting rid of your gun, your
No, no, oh
baby.
yeah, and
What
in
they're doing is
PvP
you can't
and
use it in
non,
game is the only
yeah, it's just the in-game
in-game
stuff, right?
content.
Yeah.
Right. So you may like I have to find a new replacement for my dust rock because that one's going to go away.
Okay, so I
But
meant to send you this, but I'm curious on your thoughts. They have been doubling down a lot on like dust rock aesthetics. Have you? Am I the only one who's noticed that? Like, I haven't seen a lot of people talking about that, but there has been like two ornaments now for dust rock recently.
has there? I didn't even notice. It's a super popular gun. It's the most
Yeah,
one
I
of the
guess
most
is it just
popular
be
shotguns in PvP.
okay? Maybe it's just because it's so popular. But I was trying to figure out. I'm like, why is it such a? I don't know. I don't use shotguns, so that's the other thing.
Hmm. Yeah, I think it's going to be a good thing in the long run because it is going to change up some play styles. I even after Dust Rock kind of got nerfed a bit, I did not
Sorry,
really play.
we just finished a heroic event in like 10 seconds. Oh,
Nice.
we have 4 Titans. That's why
You got super confused.
I was really confused. I was like, he just got summoned. Why is he already dead?
Were they all running Sentinel?
I think I know at least two of them were because I see two bubbles right now.
Oh, Weapons of Light.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Sorry,
had somebody confused
like I
the
was
snot
saying,
out of
like
me
this public
earlier with
event,
that.
like you either get a team that just melts things, or you get a team that's like, what's a boss?
Right? Well, some people, I don't know, some of the supers are more ad control. Some of the supers are
Oh
better
yeah,
for
you were telling
solo
me about
boss.
that.
And Titans have some of the best boss supers you can get. even with the bubble, because you get Weapons of Light, which buffs everything. I don't know. I just this season, as far as the mechanics of how the season works, I do like the recaster level up system. I
Mm-hmm.
do think it's smart. Smart that you can basically, if you wanted to, I think you could still technically do it. Delete a character, start a new character, do the weeklies, upgrade it. Delete the character, do it
You don't even have
again.
to delete the character.
No?
No, I've been running all three of my characters because your weekly is character based. It's not
Right.
account
Oh
based.
yeah, that's what right, but that's what I've been doing. There's somebody who's completely finished the upgrade because he was deleting the
Oh
character
yeah,
over and
I saw
over.
that. I don't. That's way too much investment.
Right.
Like I figured out like because basically I figured out the experience that's needed for it, and I was like, oh, if you run all three characters, that's guaranteed 3,000. What is it? Twisted materials or whatever. And no,
And you get some in the season pass too every once in a
right, yeah,
while.
and this is the thing I was telling Pins the other night was the other thing is I think it's the Umbral Mastery 1 gives you
Hmm.
kickback to Twisted Energy every time you decrypt things. So like I actually just got a rank just from decryption just recently.
Nice.
That's how I finished the second row. Was I should have only gotten I should still have one left, but because I
Hmm.
had that was the first thing I bought. So basically everything that I've been decrypting since then has been kickback into that. Because well,
That's
and
awesome.
especially now they have it where it's automatically applying it, which is really funny
Hmm.
because you'll do something and it's like, go pick up your Ingram. I was like, what did I do? I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, gotta go pick up my Ingram, but yeah, like I figured it out and I was like, oh, it's gonna be 3 weeks basically. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
whatever.
If you do all three characters, it should take about 3, maybe a little bit longer weeks to finish it. And you don't even have to do the weeklies on all the other stuff. I am literally only doing weekly, what are they called? The bounties specifically for the recaster.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah,
Purge
yeah.
Darkness are
Well,
the
those are
weekly
the only
bounties for that.
ones. Yeah, those are the only ones that will give you twisted energy. The other
Right, but
ones
if
give
you're doing
you.
other bounties, if like
Oh.
Crucible and stuff like that, you'll
Mhm.
get the higher level gear too. You'll get a gear drop, but
Yeah.
it won't necessarily be for that leveling. It won't take long to finish it if you're doing it legitimately. That kind of irked me a little bit when I saw that, which kicked off the whole debate, if you remember last week, of AFK farming.
So
So,
yeah, I guess I am curious what your opinion of that was.
if you are AFK farming and you're doing it in a way that is not going to interfere with somebody who's legitimately trying to play the game, I don't care. I do think that you are a big baby later in the season when you start complaining that there's not enough to do because you wasted your $10 for the season essentially by putting your controller on a rubber band and running the forge over and over and over because
Mm.
you're basically taking out all that experience that you would have gotten from doing all the different weeklies and bounties on other things to level up. You took it out in an AFK farm because you wanted to get there fast. That is my only beef. So if you are an AFK farmer and you're somebody who's just a dedicated player who doesn't care about like just rehashing the same content till the end of the season and you're just going to do it that way, good on you. I don't care. I AFK'd farm 4 times during the forge. Like I only ran 4 forges just to see how it worked partially, and also I wanted to get a few engrams, but it was really boring and I felt like I was cheating, so I was like, whatever, don't want to do it anymore. But I'm glad Bungie patched it. There are other ways to get Umbral engrams super fast out there. Blue found one the other day.
Mhm.
But if you aren't hurting somebody's gameplay and you're not going to be a big baby at the end of the season, do what you want. I don't care.
Yeah, my only like opinion on it was when I figured out that it transcends into also leveling up other things. I was like, okay, I can see why this can be perceived
Cheating.
as unfair to other players. I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, Bungie," but it's like, okay, but you have to understand that like it's not just getting engrams. And this is more to people who are complaining. It's also you're bypassing the leveling system because, like what I was just saying, if you got the perk on the Umbral Mastery, every engram that you're getting is also leveling up your recaster, and so it's not just that you're getting more loot. It's you're actually bypassing the leveling system of one of the main components of the season. And I was like, as soon as I connected those dots, I was like, oh, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, I get why they kind of weighed in a little bit quicker. Ooh, someone just tethered. Um, why they weighed in a little bit quicker on it, because I was like, yeah, okay, that makes more sense. And I can
Yep.
see, like, having then figured that out, then looking at that, I was like, it kind of does. It's kind of annoying and makes me like roll my eyes a little bit. Um, because I mean, like, I don't. It, to me, it's also that's way too much forethought for a video game. Like, I'm gonna enjoy the game, and I'll just enjoy the game, whatever.
Mhm.
Um, which is why I've kept playing it for as long as I have. You know, it's. But I totally do. Again, after I figured out that logic, I was like, I got you. I'm on the
Yeah.
same page.
You know what though? There are some really good ways to still get Umbral engrams.
Oh
I know strikes
God,
are a pretty decent way to do it. You can just run through the strikes. Nightmare hunts are the really popular one right now.
nightmare hunts, man. You can like I think the longest nightmare hunt I was getting about one. I was getting at least one per nightmare hunt the other day. It's kind of dropped since then. I don't know if that was I don't know if that was RNG or what, but like I got nightmare hunts the one time escalation protocol. Once you hit rank 5 on EP,
Oh
it
yeah.
like you're drowning in umbrals. Like it's ridiculous because basically it felt like every major yellow bar you kill in escalation after I think it was or after level 5, it just there were ingram. It was like I was running out of space to carry them. It was so bad. Which I know it's like this is like the epitome of a Destiny first world problem.
Right?
I'm
It's one of
like,
those things they replaced the two blues and a
oh yeah.
whatever that whole meme with umbrals, and it's
I'm
like
like I'm
the
like
community is like, what?
I don't know. Like I mean and I get it. Like I mean and that's not to say that there aren't like hiccups that are going on. Like I totally I've made my own complaints about some of the bugs mostly because I am now like very very closely tracking the triumphs that I've gotten because I'm going after this title. I'm like it's bugged. It won't give me credit. It's like
Yeah.
the level and then the one that's currently I'm kind of nervous about is the heavy hitter one because like that was the whole thing. It does seem like that one is slightly time gated because it's per week as far as the heroic event boss. And the
Well,
problem
it'll cycle through again.
right, but I mean, it's just it basically adds an additional week to
Sure.
the content or the requirement. And you know,
Mhm.
again, I can see that being a point of contention with people. I mean, it is what it is. As far as like the actual event, though, I'm having a blast with it. Like it's been really fun. It's really refreshing. Like I said, it the time limit helps make it a lot more enjoyable. And so
So, oh yeah. Sorry, I'm just enjoying watching you use Mobius Quiver.
I think that was like
That
6 or 7 shots.
uh-huh. Yeah, welcome to Bottom Tree. It's actually a boss melter.
Oh my god!
Um Blue has not used Mobius Quiver since they
I
buffed
don't.
it, guys.
I haven't. No, I haven't used Mobius Quiver since like Taken King. To be honest, I used
Yeah.
Mobius Quiver then, but then as soon as Orpheus Rig came out with Destiny 2, I was like, wait, what? And then they kind of nerfed them back in a while, but I like Orpheus Rigs, and it really boosts Top Tree. Oh my
You
god!
know what I actually enjoy about this event more than anything? You do not have to throw any balls.
You just have to carry
There's
one.
no, you just well, yeah, and that's
The
fine. Like
bloom, yeah.
I don't mind carrying something to dunk into a particular location, but there's not going to be a moment where I throw the thing and hit some titan in the back of the head because he decided to
Oh,
jump. Like how
randomly.
many times did that happen
A lot.
during
Yeah.
last season? Like it's just
I think my
I'm I
problem
think
my
it's a smarter event.
my problem with last season was I think it was it I think they tried I think they overstepped the complexity of it. Um
Mhm.
because like to be fair, I never completed one of the second round things
Yeah, when they
because like
changed it.
because
Mhm.
I and part of that is my fault. I play solo. That's I've said before. I completely understand that's not the intended process, but like you know I think that's what makes this event so much more fun for me is because you can go in it as a solo queuer and it really doesn't detract from it. It actually, I mean, sometimes you have to get, sometimes it's a little frustrating, but for the
Mhm.
most part, it's like, it's not as dependent on like you, if your group messes up like once or twice, it's not like, oh, well, wipe and do it again. It's
Yeah.
okay, well, if you have like one or two people who are really good, they can carry, they can legit, like they won't be able to do it by themselves necessarily. I'm not saying that's not soloable, but like if you have one or two higher than average players, they can redeem the group. Whereas with the was it the Seraph Towers, it felt like unless everyone was perfect, it just
Right.
wasn't going to get past like that second phase. And
I
I
do
tried like three or
think
four times and I was just like I got defeated by the event itself. Like the mechanics was
yeah.
just like I'm like I don't have, there are more productive uses of my time in game than trying to chance into a group of perfect players for this.
Sure. The thing that I like about this one is that the difficulty comes in not because of how many ads there are, but because you have to have the unstoppable mod. You have to have
Yeah.
somebody with an overload mod. You have to have somebody with the anti-barrier mods. And it's highly encouraged to have more than just one person with one of each. It makes the event go much, much smoother that way. You can do it without it, but it makes it super challenging then, and it just encourages you to use the mechanics that Bungie is really starting to teach. And that was one of the things that I think I was really not necessarily harping on you, but like trying to teach you is that the mods for the seasons are there to help make the season events go much faster. And this season's mods are no different. There
Mm-hmm.
are a ton of different things that are going to help that you can get from the recaster or
Correct. Though
some.
I will step in on that because
Okay.
that is a point of confusion that I have seen a lot of
Mhm.
people being made. The seasonal
Oh, yeah.
mods that are being tracked by the Triumph are not the seasonal mods from the artifact. They are the
Correct.
seasonal mods, which are also called seasonal mods, but they are the seasonal mods
Mhm.
from the recaster, which
Mhm.
I have not used any of the seasonal mods from the recaster just yet, but because I like the artifact mods because like you were saying, they have like the what is it the shield break and the what is it
Mhm.
overflow and I can't
Overload
overload and
and
then I can't
anti-barrier.
anti barrier. Those are really fun for me. I like
Mhm.
because they actually like when you, oh my gosh, I will be honest, when you have like the shield break and someone pop like one of the things pops and it like disorients it, that is I
Mhm.
love that
It's a
sense
good
of like
feeling.
that's right, I gotcha. Like I'm not
That's
gonna lie,
right. I stunned you.
I got
Yeah.
him. Um, like I love that. But I do that was part of my confusion was because like I was unlocking them
The
with the
zone
like I just
enhanced
did that.
ability.
I was unlocking them on the artifact and it wasn't tracking on the Triumph thing. And at first I was like, okay, is this another bug thing? And then I realized no,
The zone
it's
enhanced
not those seasonal
ability.
mods. It's these seasonal mods. And I was like, I did have a bit of an eye roll at that point.
Right. Which I that is one thing I think they could do with explanation a bit better, because this was one of the things that drove me crazy during Guardian games, is that bounties were not clear. Same thing's happening with the triumphs. Some of the triumphs are a little unclear because not
Mhm.
everything has a name in the game anymore. We have seasonal mods that are based around, last season it was all the mods that you got from Rasputin. This
Right.
season it's from the Recaster. You also
Which is
have artifact
fine, but
mods.
then you need to be like,
Right. Claw,
because I
call
think
it out a bit more.
doesn't Banshee have his own seasonal mods too?
Banshee does have rotating mods. I don't know if they're considered seasonal
Seasonal,
though.
okay.
But the other thing that drives me crazy is that, could you imagine right now being new light and coming into this?
Oh,
It's
so
much more complicated.
my brother's gonna be joining again. He's like,
Oh
all right, I'm gonna try.
no.
And he's like, his biggest complaint was the load times, which I mean they've
Right.
kind of gotten better. Depends.
They're better on PlayStation and PC.
Yeah, they're not as bad as they were on Xbox either. It's
Mm-hmm.
just it depends on what you're running into. Like, it's
Sure.
I know they switched to, what is it, skill based matchmaking. I know that was a
Yep.
contention the other day. I'm
Well,
like,
no, no,
I
no.
don't care.
They switched from skill-based matchmaking into
Oh, yes,
connection-based
connection based.
matchmaking.
Sorry. Yes. I know people were like, "Ow, I just got smushed." Um,
Mm-hmm.
I know people were kind of whatever about that. So like, I haven't played too much Crucible this season. So I can't weigh in on the connection times. I know that was kind of a point of pain for last season, was the joke was not unfounded that you could queue into a match and I would literally be able to go do something else in the
Mm-hmm.
house and walk back and still have time to like be here and do like
Oh yeah.
it was a little ridiculous.
Yeah, it still has a little bit of that, but there is some. Bungie does build in time, so that is one thing that
Mhm.
that everyone should remember, that they do build in a cooldown time, because just like with revive times, there's actually a philosophy behind that to help the player reset so they are not continually raging when they spawn in, like Mayhem tends to be.
See, I
Um,
love mayhem, but
you are one of the few.
I'm also a big
You're
fan of
also a
Super
hunter.
Fiesta, so I also
Yeah,
love Super Fiesta, so I
you are also a
recognize.
hunter. Uh-huh. You recognize the pain that other people go through. No. I enjoy PvP. The load times don't bother me so much. It was the beaver thing that was happening
Hmm.
anytime I loaded in on PC, I get beavered. I played PC with Man at Arms a few times on stream, and there were a few games where I would load into the same match with them 4 times because I got kicked 4 times from the match.
Oh
So
wow.
I'm glad they're finally adjusting that. I haven't heard anybody's reports on how that's gone. I know that they did a hot fix on that with this last week, but
Oh, okay. So
it's
it
yet to
was
be
actually
seen.
really recent.
Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah. Or not Cosmo. DMG was talking about it the other day. What do you feel about the missions? I know we're not going to go into the story, but how do you feel about the rotating mission? Feels a lot
Um,
like Shadowkeep to me.
yeah, I mean, I've never had a problem with rotating missions. I think that the interference mission, I like what they're doing with it. Uh, Again, with I will be honest, like it wasn't a negative surprise, but it was a surprise nonetheless, because like I said, I've been kind of trying to keep track of the triumphs this time around. And I know, like, they were like, all right, you have to complete I think it was Relic. You have to complete the Relic run of interference. And so I knew it was a weekly rotation, so I went ahead and I ran through it. But I took my time because I was like, okay, there's a mechanic that I have to be sure to get through. And lo and behold, it was the entire mission. Like, you basically, if you
Yes.
finish the mission, you finish the mechanic. Not knowing that going in made it kind of like, I don't know. Like I said, it wasn't a negative thing. It was just like a more of like a at the end, because I was like, okay, I finished the mission. Did I get the point, like, because I know on top of that,
Right.
with all the bugs that we've been having with Triumphs, I was like, gosh, man, if I don't get this one as well, that's gonna be annoying. But I mean, it's I think other than that, which is kind of what you were saying earlier, I think is just a matter of clarifying what we're looking for, which I think it's never going to be a bad thing to say.
I can
Um,
say, as far as a counterpoint I can see for it, is that by not making it super clear, now this is a terrible counterpoint, and I'm just going to make it anyway,
mhm,
is
mhm.
it gives content creators something to teach. Because
That's
creators,
fair. Yeah.
they do need something to teach in order to have content, and gives them a chance to create something that is useful for the community. That is the only thing that I can see that makes it
Well, and
okay
it
that some of the
also,
things are not as clear.
I would say the other thing is it also kind of forces you to take your time through the event. Like,
Yeah. Read the things that they put there,
yeah.
because how many people skip past those walls? I don't know. Have you looked at the dungeon at all?
I have not. I asked a question.
Ooh.
So here's the thing. I asked, so again, I'm trying to stick with mechanics. From a lore perspective, yes, I
Right.
have looked at the dungeon. I'm very fascinated by it. Also with some of the new theories that have come out with the recent days and all that. Um,
Yeah.
so but from a mechanic standpoint, no, I have not looked at it just yet. I've been focusing on the stuff that I can reasonably complete. Um,
Mhm.
and so when I first looked at it, I was like, okay, what level do I need to be to even kind of contemplate going into it? I think it was you and Orchid were like, oh well, you should be at least like 1030 or 1040. I was like,
Mhm.
okay, so until I get to 1030, I'm at 1028 right now. Until I get to 1030, I'm like, all right, I'm not getting, like, I'm already trying to get other stuff out of the way. So basically, as soon as I hit that mark, then I'm going to start looking at, okay, what do I need to do to get through the dungeon? Because this will be the first. Yeah, this will be the first
Since
in-game thing that I've run through since before Rise of Iron.
the dungeon,
Yep.
this dungeon, you never did Shattered Throne?
I got Potato took me through Shattered Throne, I guess technically.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay. Because that
I don't consider that a raid run because we basically got carried through. It was like, Jay, go
right.
here. Pins, go there. Watch out for that jump, Pins. Wait 5 minutes. Okay, we
I
made it.
mean, watch out for that jump pins. I mean, poor guy. Yeah.
Uh,
It is, that one is a
I felt
jumping
so
puzzle
bad because
nightmare.
we had to leave and come back in. It was so, oh my gosh, that was a rough one. Um, like but I mean, like, actually running a raid or actually running an in-game like thing, I haven't done that. I haven't had the interest to do it
Yeah.
since well before Rise of Iron. I mean, I never even ran Wrath of the Machine, to be completely honest.
Sure.
I read about
A
it
lot
and
of
I
people
knew the
didn't run.
lore, but
Yeah.
like from a mechanic standpoint, like it was Rise of Iron was a rough patch for me with regards to mechanics in Destiny, and so um yeah, and then like when Destiny 2 dropped, it was just kind of like, like I got through it and I got through the campaign, and then I did like, yeah, just I never did any of the raids other than Shattered Throne. And like I said, I've done that once.
And that's still just a dungeon. That's still just a three
Oh
man.
no, sorry, yeah,
But
Shattered Throne. Yeah, sorry. No, I'm talking what's the raid?
it's Last Wish.
Yes, that one. Shattered Throne,
Yeah.
yeah, okay, I guess technically Shattered Throne would be a dungeon. See, I don't even
Yes.
consider that really a whatever. Okay.
So
Because
the
by the
reason
time
why it's a dungeon is it's a 3 man event versus a 6 man event.
got it. Okay.
So I've gone into the dungeon. I love the light dark mechanic. So what happens in the first room, since Blue, you really haven't gone and looked at it, is you are in this, looks kind of like a sewer tunnel, like a really nice sewer tunnel. It's clean and everything. But there are different tunnels, little
way
pathways
to
that
sell it there.
yeah, it's real clean. It doesn't smell bad. It's great. Um it's true. It even has like opening like what are they called? Sewer, not the sewer grates, like the things that the Ninja Turtles go down.
The runoff.
No, no. Well, I mean that's there too, but
Oh no, you're talking about the manhole
the
covers.
manhole covers. There we go. It has giant manhole covers that you have to open up. And the way you open them up is by putting out both the light table and
the 9 does not
dark
appreciate
table.
your sarcasm.
It's fine. Anyway, so in order to you have to collect motes of light and motes of dark to put out the little tables. In order to get motes of light, you have to stand in the light and kill the knights.
Oh,
in
okay,
order to
yeah.
get the motes,
Okay.
you have to stand in the shadowed areas and kill the knights. If you accidentally stand in one that you're not supposed to stand in, you will not get the correct kinds of motes. The other thing is if you have one kind of mote and you pick up a different kind of mote, it'll change your motes into the other one.
Oh, so it's like a Destiny version of Othello or Othello or
yes.
whatever that game is.
Yeah, basically. So that's interesting. It's fun. You can go in theoretically right now I did it at 1020 solo for a little while just to see if I could. And I could open up the first 2 rooms pretty easily that way. It is a lot of maneuvering because there are taken thrall that will wreck your day.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, it's actually a pretty simple mechanic to build in. And then, of course, part 2 is crazy, and then part 3 is even crazier. I have not actually done part 3 yet. I've seen part 2. I've not figured out a strategy yet because I really haven't gotten into it with anybody else. But I like the concept that you have to utilize both light and dark in it. And I think that's really cool.
Well, and I think like that's the theme, obviously that they're building towards from I don't know if that's a good place to kind of start wrapping up. I don't know how long we've been talking.
Yeah.
But I mean, like that's where a lot of the storytelling is also pointing, is using both sides. I know that's an interesting direction, I will say. Not necessarily a surprising direction, but an interesting one.
Yep, I agree. I like the mechanic changes they've changed so far. I know that Trials is still going to be a contentious thing, and I saw some people complaining about that today.
They did a big change with that, right? You're now required to do like, what was it? You're required to do like quite a bit to even get in. Which I'm like, I mean, you had to do the same stuff to get into a raid. So to me, I guess I wasn't super surprised.
Well, it's the reason, why they're doing it.
Oh no, I understand why they're doing it, but I guess my response to that is it's an in-game material. Of course you have to you have to jump through hoops. Like that's the definition. In my world, that is the definition of in-game material. I have to jump through hoops to get it.
Yeah, and I think it's fair that they changed it in that way, so you're not getting people who are completely cheating the system to get multiple drops that way. But I do find some of the things with the Trials changeover to be a little heavy-handed, but I'm glad that it should help cut down on the cheating that was going on rampantly, especially on the PC side. And I really am glad that it will cut down on the first 3 level farming that was happening, making it flippin' impossible for anybody to actually do well. Anyway, that is the last that I wanted to talk about for the mechanic side of the episode. So if we'd like to flip over to side B.
Yeah, flip over to side B. Well, I mean, do you want to do shout outs real quick for intro? I know I can imagine. I know your
Yeah.
shout out, but if you want
Do
to,
you know my shout out?
I don't know. No, I like to say that I
It's a,
do, but I don't. It's a mystery.
I mean, it's somebody's birthday today.
It's not my
And
birthday
by the
today.
time this, by no, it's not your birthday today. By the time this comes out, it's gonna be way past her birthday. But she might actually hear it. She might not. I know
Are
somebody's
you
on
going to get
here
in
who will hear
trouble
it.
for saying this person's
N-
birthday?
n- I mean,
Because
she's scary.
I
She's
saw the.
scary anyway. So Raz's birthday is today. Raz, a good friend of mine, my fire teammate,
Wait,
and
don't
she's
kill me.
turning. Here's where she's gonna kill me. She's turning 37 today, and I'm in trouble. But
And I'm dead.
yeah, shout out to that, and shout out to Bungie for being so quick on the draw for creating a Black Lives Matter charity
Oh
pin.
man, and it looks amazing.
It does look really
looks
good.
it
It
looks so
looks
good.
really, really good. That one goes on sale on Tuesday,
Yeah, which I
which would
will.
be the 23rd.
Yep, and I'm gonna be in a car, so I'm gonna probably be bugging somebody to try to get me one because I really like that. I really like the design on it, and
Yeah, I am
not to
too.
mention what what it stands for, but like the
Right.
it's just there's like so many good things about that particular thing that they did. Also, really, I
Yes.
mean, I transitioned into my shout outs, I guess.
Hmm.
Really big shout out to Bungie and I think it was Advanced Gamer. Like, I don't even know what it is. Advanced GG for their quick
It.
reaction on the thing that we were talking about at the beginning of
Yep.
the episode. That has like I can't tell you like how much respect it gives when you see and the CEO of Advanced GG was the one who weighed in on it. Like
Right.
it was pretty impressive watching that. And I think, oh God, what was the other sponsor that weighed in with the whole situation? I just blank it.
I.
Player One Coffee, I think, is the one. But like those and Bungie, like I don't know. Like whenever a company like that sees something that has been done that they have, taken a problem with or they have an issue with, and they actually stand and they put their money where their mouth is, because to be honest, to be blunt, that is what sponsorships are. Is
Yep.
they're putting their money where their mouth is. That makes me actually want to do business with them. And I loved when I was watching this whole thing. There were so many opportunities for Twitter and for the Destiny community as a whole to devolve into just like a cesspool of shouting matches. And really honestly, there were a few. I mean, it's Twitter, so I'm not really
Hmm.
surprised there. But it was more so it was just unquestionable, support and comforting those who were coming out and speaking about their experiences. And that's really, I mean, a huge shout out to this community again for showing. Not only is this also during the time that we're, giving money to St. Jude, because holy hell, I mean, we aren't having Guardian Con, the convention, this year, and they're still going to be doing a very good job for St. Jude.
Yes. Also, we get a toaster.
Yeah, I need to go back and watch the archive because apparently I missed a really, really entertaining stream. I was actually in the middle of
So
programming
Bungie
stuff.
had to raise $777,777.77 in their stream. They did it in 10 minutes.
Yeah, I saw that tweet and I was blown away. Like it was, yeah. I think
Because they
DMG and
did it.
Cosmo are getting matching
Yeah.
tattoos. I think is the other
Yes.
thing that's happening.
Uh-huh. Which is hilarious because I don't think Cosmo has many tattoos. I know DMG does. DMG did a tattoo a couple years ago.
Was it the bread
But
one?
yeah. But yeah, it's great. They're gonna be doing a Destiny toaster for the Bungie store, which there have been plenty of submissions for what this should look like.
I can only imagine.
Yeah. It's great. Now, as far as like a charity type call out, Bungie has done a really good job of that. And the community in general, like there's another stream that's actually in the making right now for a raising money for Black Lives Matter. That's happening. They're getting ready to start streaming that. I think next week is when that starts up. And so there's a lot of giving in the hearts of the community and a lot of just good people. And the thing that I love is that no one is going to fault you if you cannot give monetarily to something. A lot of it is just also getting the word out, creating awareness. And that is another thing our community does very, very well. So good on you. Keep it up. Keep being you. Keep being awesome. And we should roll out.
Autobots. No, wrong one.
I mean, that's what I was referencing. So good job.
Well, as always, thank you for your time. And until next time, remember, with wisdom we conquer, stand strong, stand tall, and keep exploring. Oh my God. So what is going on in here? Like,
what is going on in
there's
here?
Goblins. That's what they're all surrounding a bank of goblins. That's what's happening. That's just rude. Hate.
Sounds like
goblins.
A D&D game.
It really actually looked like a strategy from a D&D game. Surround the guys who give us immortality.
Uh-huh. God, that is the worst in Gambit is when you have the goblins that are...
I'm the asshole who's like, oh, they have a primeval? Send lots of small taken.
The only one that is worse than that is the servitors that circle jerk their shielding to each other.
Oh, I've never honestly had really that weird one happen. Like, I've never had a servitor give another servitor. This sounds so bad.
We're not recording. We're in between right now. If you want to say hi to everybody. No? Okay. I'm getting my temperature taken. You're fine. I'm fine? Yeah. Yay, I do not have a fever. So, yeah, I will be right back real quick.
Okay, cool. Black flag. No, that's what I mean. I was saying that. Like, I think that from like a story perspective, especially this entire what I've seen of this season has been really interesting. And I also really like that they've kept the bunker here because it was so well hidden before. Oh no. Dirt is a wonderful disguise. Yeah, it is. It is indeed. Let's see. Got room for 2 more Umbral engrams. Ow! That is very rude.
This is going to sound very bad, but I'm going to say it anyway. My wife is very good about what she does. She just cracked my back for me. It's amazing.
Nice. Also nice Sonic. To the impliedness.
Yes. So bummed didn't get to see you guys at GCX this year. After last year, was so looking forward to doing karaoke again this year. Yeah, I know. How are you, Sonic?
I think Adam said he was going to try to do a digital karaoke.
Yeah, he wants to do one. I don't know when he has it scheduled for though. I'll keep my eyes peeled for it.
I saw that tweet the other day and I was like, that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I
Oh
mean,
god.
it's actually more doable than you think. There's actually been a lot of karaoke parties going on online.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a little different. Fanatics. Explodey fanatics. All oh god.
Green ran into a blue problem. Oh god. There were more than expected. More than expected.
Yes. Yes, I turned around like I thought I had gotten them all, and I turned back around and there was one behind me.
That's my scream.
Uh-huh. Oh, Screebs. I like how they've become the mild ones now
Oh
because of
yeah.
how compact all of this is. Though, could you imagine Screebs doing this?
No. No.
Ooh.
Well, I mean, yes, but that's nightmare fuel.
You don't want to, yeah.
Like,
At least you didn't punch them. I mean, I am on Titan right now.
what's really fun is
Working
doing
late.
a finisher on a Screeb or anything
Aw.
that explodes.
He's so Sonic is actually working on stuff at home right now. That's awesome that you have us up on the spare monitor. Thank you, hon.
What's redacted?
I appreciate.
Is that
Season of
redacted?
season.
Oh man. Oh man. God, what is rude?
That's awesome.
Rude.
Yeah, and we're actually getting ready to start the lore episode of our thoughts. We just finished up our thoughts on the mechanics of things.
Spoiler.
And
It was a good one.
Yeah, it was a good one. But now,
I
yeah,
don't
we're
know.
heading over into the other side of things, of the
That's
lore.
That's what I
the
think.
storytelling.
Ow! God
So whenever
bless you.
Blue,
Fuck you, Centurion. Jesus.
you just blessed the Centurion because you didn't want to cuss. God bless you.
Aha! What? Sorry,
You-
I wasn't paying attention.
You're
I
adorable.
I was dodging. I was trying to I was killing one guy. A Centurion blasted me from across the map.
Bless him to hell.
Bless him.
Oh,
I
that's
don't want to
funny.
damn him. I just, you know.
Yeah, I
Listen,
mean,
it made sense in my
he kind
head.
of already is. He's
Yeah.
being bullied into this contact event, which that's something I want to talk about. How the hell did the pyramid heads
no,
bully Cabal?
no, you are not bringing them into this mix because that would be abso-fucking-lutely terrifying. I swear to God, a pyramid head shows up in this shit, I am done.
But you know, the pyramids are like like they're basically
No,
an organism in and of themselves. They are.
No.
Ghost says it. Ghost says it.
Okay, no. Like, I don't have a problem with the pyramids having sentience. That being a pyramid head is a completely different conversation topic. God,
Blue does not
shit.
like horror films.
I don't mind horror films. I find horror films absolutely fucking hilarious. It's the horror games that I'm like, they actually do a really good job. And actually half the time then I'm also laughing. So I mean, it's not that, it's just pyramid heads are they're terrifying. It's like Nemesis. Like the fact that he is like invincible is really annoying and also terrifying because he just conveniently chases you everywhere. Which
my sister loves watching those streams. That's actually the one thing that my sister does not game, but she loves watching horror games streamers.
I will, like the reactions. Like, I'll have to send you the audio clip I have of Justin playing what is it, Outlast, I think. It's hilarious. Like
an Outcast.
If
I don't know that one.
Yeah, necromorphs can just fuck right off. Like, that's just the problem with necromorphs is that they literally can't be killed. You have to cut them up, and then even then they still will come after you. Like, it's really annoying.
Yeah. Okay, so are you? Nope, you're not at a point where you can start the next one.
Colossus is being rude.
That's okay.
Outlast, yeah. So I have an audio clip. I have an audio clip of Justin playing Outlast. It's amazing. Like, I told him the other day, or I told him when I got it, I was like, if I called a 911 number and just played them this audio, they would legitimately come looking for you because it's just.
I don't know if I've actually heard that audio clip. Do
Oh
you
my
have
God.
that handy?
It's on the drive. Hang on, I can play it here in a
Okay.
second. It's like 5 minutes long, and it's literally just half of him just panicking. Like he's like, no, no.
It is Justin.
Oh yeah, I mean Snakes versus Iguana, Snake versus Iguana was Snake 2.0. I would not classify it as Snake 2.0. I will say that the Snake versus Iguana video is still the best ever. Just simply because you don't have to be watching the video to understand what's going on, but if you are watching the video, it just makes it infinitely better.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times I've tried to upload that on YouTube. YouTube's like,
well,
no.
It is, isn't it Planet Earth that it's from or whatever?
It's either Planet Earth or BBC. Like, it's one of the ones.
Yeah.
I'm like, but it, and they're like, no. I'm like, okay. Oh my God.
Yeep, yeep, yeep. Release it. Release what? The Outlast.
He saw your
clip?
6. He saw your 6.
Oh yeah, that's the iguana one.
Oh my God.
God.
That shit was.
We need to get Justin to do a game night with us.
Yeah, I was talking to him the other. What the hell just happened? That rocket just bounced. I'm so confused about why my rocket just like bounced off that guy.
You know what we really didn't talk about that much in the first episode? The fact that you and I are playing other characters besides hunters for this season.
I mentioned it.
I did too, but I glazed over it. Like, it was.
I will be honest, like, I'm not like, I literally am logging in on them and playing the weeklies and then just logging back out.
I'm enjoying Warlock.
I can't. So I thought it was something I was doing, but I think it's the bug that they are having with the Stormcaller that's causing me like confusion with my Warlock. Because like,
oh really?
Yeah, because like I changed over to landfall. I don't know. I'm terrible at what I'm supposed to be doing with Warlocks. I just shoot things and they blow up. That's all I know. Which is why playing the Titan is a little bit easier, because I just throw things and it's like punching them from a distance.
That's a pretty accurate statement.
Yeah, I mean, it's a Titan. Everything is a revolving
I love the
around.
taste of crayons.
Yeah.
I'm playing my Titan right now, actually.
Man, I think Pin said it was the middle tree. Like, it's just I love the little portable hammer that you could throw around and you just bounce it off people. I was like, this is a lot more fun than I thought it was gonna be. I might have gotten myself in trouble because I literally forget half the time that I'm like, oh, I should be shooting you, but it's so much more fun to hit you in the face. Code of the Devastator. Yeah.
Run that with Dune Marchers. Main Titan, but have been playing a little of everything. Yeah. That's basically what we've been doing. Both of us are hunter mains, but I've actually been playing a lot more of both of the others, primarily the Warlock, which I never played in D1. I hated the jump.
The jump killed me in D1. But like ever since D2, I will admit the rework of the jump in
much
D2
better.
is
Yeah.
much better. It's actually like
also jump. Blink. If you are a Blink hunter in D1, Blink is pretty much home.
Yeah, I was.
Oh really? I did Vogue on Blink on accident.
Why?
I knew better.
Why would you do that?
Because it was my jump. I finished it.
That just gives me PTSD doing like.
It was great. It was fine.
I was the one that like the final jumping puzzle in Vogue, they would always try to get me to fall. And I was the one hunter that I had figured out how to run off the angle of that first jump where I could actually land on the wall And so like it always piss them off because they were like they always had bets on who would fall first, and my hunter we'd always just take off running, and the other like we had another Titan who really liked doing the Superman into the ground, which is the best thing.
Go to the missile
when he misses. Well, because like it's basically for D1, it was like I think it was like death from above or something.
Oh yeah.
And so like they would jump out and then they'd cast the super and it would like it's basically Code of the Missile, but it wasn't, you couldn't like steer it really. But
right.
The best part of that was whenever they miss. Because you just hear this
yeah.
and it's just gonna guard
everything
down.
just feels slightly wasted. Yep.
But there was
how I know how well that works in the Gambit map, where it's the it's the Taken Shore Gambit map that has the acid pit. On how easy it is to tighten your way off of the map into the acid pit.
I've tripped off that thing so many times, and I'm like, I'm good. Nope, not good. But no, yeah. So there was a corner. There's a corner on the ledge that you can jump off of and land on the wall on the Vogue, but you can only do it if you have the triple jump. So we would do it all the freaking time, and it pissed all the guys off because they were like, he's gonna drop, and it didn't. It's like, I love Fog. I'm so excited. Your friends,
the certain wall in Kingsfall.
Boop.
Poor Pens.
Go touch the orb to start the counter. Wham!
It was initiation. It was Guardian hazing done well. Not even done right, just done well.
The D wall.
I mean, it was the D wall.
It was the D wall. How many ways can you kill your own fire team? There's bits.
More ways. More ways.
Oh shit.
All right. You safe? You are safe.
Yeah. Let's see. Cool. All right.
Oh.
Welcome to Focus Fire Chat, recorded live on June 19th, 2020, over on twitch.tv/FocusFireChat, as we continue our discussion on our initial thoughts for this new season of Arrivals. This particular episode will serve as what we have come to call the advanced session of the week's exploration. Congratulations to those who have signed up for a deeper dive. As we discussed in the first one, we are going to probably be focusing more on the storytelling and lore aspects of the season, so this will probably be more what you're used to hearing us ramble on about. Before we go any further, however, let's run through a quick introduction of who we have with us on the show. As always, this is your host, Blue Crew 86.
This is his other half that lives on another state, Green-Eyed Music Lover. Which makes it our fan fiction so much stranger.
We have fan. I don't want to know.
You don't want to know.
I don't want to know.
You don't want to know.
And
so yes, that's my goal. You know, that's my goal. Anytime we do introductions, Justin had his crazy names, and I have my introduction. So gotta keep it interesting.
That's funny.
But yeah. So this season's lore. Where do we want to start, Blue?
I honestly am not really sure. Like I
think honestly, where I want to start is just the concept of the pyramids again, right? So a lot of the lore that we got doesn't necessarily directly affect the pyramids per se. It's a lot more about who's trying to prevent us to get close to the pyramid and what she's up to, right?
Yeah, right. I mean, I think that's where my hesitation kind of comes in. It's like it's not that there's not a good place to start. It's that there are too many good places to start.
Right.
and I say that with full realization of just how big of a compliment that is. Like, I mean, I cannot say how much this season has really been just an absolute joy. Not to just to play like what we talked about in the first season, because it really has, but also to read how so many of these different threads have started to coalesce into um, a very a much more focused
Take
narrative.
pattern.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
a much more focused narrative than we've seen for a while now. And I think that I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, well, Destiny doesn't." You know, it's like, well, but you also start seeing here. This is one of those seasons that really points to just how well it is put together. Or even if it's been, let's play devil's advocate and say, well, they don't know what they're doing. They're just writing random stuff, and they've always just kind of flown by the seat of their pants. That actually, to me, tells me that they're even more impressive because they are making that into a narrative that is focused and actually makes sense. And there are so far, and I haven't like dissected all of the content just yet, but up until now, there have only been very minor retcons in a negative sense that I've experienced in the whole of Destiny. And there are retcons that have no bearing on the overall narrative. So, I mean, I say that fully and very confidently, like I love how well done this story has been and is continued to being, and this season by far, over the past couple seasons has stands out to me because it is the actual beginning of an end to a part of this story, to this particular chapter, if you will, of the story.
Mm-hmm. I think it's interesting that with this season's narrative, we actually started the season with the Bungie teaser of the fall. So they actually set up the expectation for the story of this season by showing us next season, at least tidbits of what's
Mm-hmm.
coming. You know what I mean? So we
Yeah,
have a,
yeah.
a way to refocus on what is the big thing coming forward or in the future,
I
which
mean,
I
I
think is
will.
super smart.
Yeah, I think it's. I think it's also funny because I I I feel like Bungie, by its own reputation, has a tendency to play on its reputation of hiding things, um,
Hmm.
and that is a. I will be the first to admit that is a double-edged sword because sometimes even very obvious story points get missed because people are so busy trying to examine the leaf of the tree that they miss the forest.
Right.
Um, and I think my only concern there is like, and this is more for me than more than anything, is like I don't want to miss the forest because it's a freaking awesome forest, because I'm so concerned with the minor things, like the whole thing with the emissary's eyes. That's the current big thing,
Right.
right? Or as of today, that's the big thing. Um
Everyone's worried that this Savathun's
right.
eyes are the same as the emissary's
Emissary's
eyes.
eyes, which, I mean, it's definitely a very fun thought experiment. I will be 100%. I find that really fascinating from a thought experiment process. Um, but it's like, that's where you kind of have to break the fourth wall a little bit and be like, okay, but is it just a reuse of assets? Like,
Hmm.
that is a
Sure.
legit question to ask for that purpose. Um, and I think that's
Well, that
where,
was,
oh, go for it, go for it.
I was just going to say that was something that you and I had talked about ahead of
Mm-hmm.
time, ahead of the show and ahead of the recording, is that even if even if it is just a use of assets, because the theory involves two of the most, not underdeveloped, but most mysterious forces in the universe at the moment,
Mm-hmm.
it's way too easy to make them fit together because they're both shrouded in mystery. You have
Right.
Zavathun and you have the Nine. So it's too easy in some ways to put them together, which may be where it's actually heading. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But I would caution anybody who gets too excited about it just hold your horses a little bit, because it may not be as well connected, because literally it is one asset. There's not another thing that I can see that would connect those two together besides the mystery aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
I was trying to mention that, and even my name is Bife. Bife actually mentioned this morning on Twitter. He's just like, I don't normally speak out against these kind of things, but I really don't feel like this is something kind of thing. And it's like, all right, I'm with Bife on that. I think that this was a reuse of asset, and if it does become something, I will eat my sock or shoes or however the saying works. But
My cotton socks. No, and I
oh, my
think
cotton socks.
I think that's where I kind of am coming from too. Is like, I like I like it because it's basically it's like your Eva theory. Like, I like it.
Mm-hmm.
It drives me up a wall,
Mm-hmm.
but I see the point of it, and it's a fun thought, because it's like, okay, but like the mental gymnastics that you have to go through to see if it would work is really
Sure.
one of the reasons I keep coming back to Destiny, because of all the
Right.
theory crafting that it prompts. And I think
And that,
that's
I
the
think,
other.
is something we've missed. We haven't had a
Yes.
good amount of theory crafting lately. A lot of our stories have been very easily tied up, but now that we're starting to collide these mysteries of Mara, the Nine, Zavathun, if you want to be me, Eva Levante, I
Hmm.
mean, just you can throw a bunch of these different things together and start having these crazy theories again, and it's exciting. It's exciting for the lore community, especially.
Hmm. Yeah,
But
I mean, I think, and that's the other thing with, like, especially I mean, talking about theory crafting, the web lore that I feel like
mhm.
Bungie has sort of doubled down on that, because I mean, let's be honest, the web lore that we're getting recently has basically been, in its own way, minor lore books. I mean,
Oh,
like
absolutely.
lengthwise, Legacy Part 1 and 2 together is at
It's
least
longer than a
equivalent.
lot of the books.
Remembrance was the other one that struck me. It was about as long as some of the smaller books. I mean, like, it's and there's, so if you're listening to this and you haven't read any of the web lore, I cannot emphasize enough yet how much you're missing, because it's, God, and it's so much more.
False Idols, the one where Nokris and Zavathun speak,
Yeah. Well,
and
I mean, I
Nokris
guess
pledges himself to her.
the other thing with that is, like, the false idols one is so interesting, because there's so many callbacks to previous web lore entries.
Mm-hmm.
But the other thing with the web lore that I personally really enjoy is that with the lore books, you have the breakup of different entries, and that's, I mean, for a lot of different purposes. But you have, like, minor chapters, basically,
Mm-hmm.
which are not really chapters, or like pages. With the web lore, it's like, it's just it's not, but it feels much more like a stream of conscious. And so, like, you
There are
have, like, that
breaks that happen, but yeah.
with, like, remembrance, there were more breaks, but, like, a lot of times, I don't know. To me, it's also probably just the aesthetics of having it all on one screen, instead of,
Mm-hmm.
having to flip between screens or pages, or what have you. Um, it makes it a lot easier to follow the flow of the story that's being told. Not to mention, the web lore that has been coming out recently has been very, very heavy on details, whereas prior to this, web lore was kind of just, oh, here's a I don't mean this derogatorily, but it was like, here's a fan fiction about what this person's doing while they're off screen, was kind of what it was originally. And it has grown into, it's basically free lore that you don't have to unlock in game, which is
There's,
really cool.
I think that there's still an aspect of the really descriptive narrative that happens in the web lore still. That fan fiction idea of what you're talking about, where you're describing the setting, that still happens in the web lores. But what I think they've been able to do is they've been able to trust the writers to write things that are more tied into the exact narrative of what they're trying to set up, instead of just this is a side mission that has nothing to do with the season. No, these are setting up exactly what we're going to start seeing, which I find really interesting, because our whole thing with our interference missions,
Mm-hmm.
it's a going into Savathun's court, and guess whose voice we hear when we get in there? Not Zavathun's. Nokris. Why are we hearing Nokris? False Idols tells you. False Idols tells you exactly why we are hearing Nokris, which I personally likes, and it also explains what happened during the strike. Like,
Oh
it
my
explains
god.
what
I
happened
remember messaging you and I was like, I both love this and I hate this at the same time, because you're
because it
right.
makes.
It makes
Mm-hmm.
perfect sense. And it's like, yet again, Guardians have been duped by their insatiable love for loot. And it's
Mm-hmm.
just like, I'm like, how many times, as a both as a player and as a person who's reading this from like an analytical point, like, how many times do you have to get tricked before you start figuring out that you're getting tricked? Like, we have been yanked around on this chain as Guardians since House of Wolves. I mean,
Right.
really, we have been used as weapons by other people. I mean, honestly, probably even if you want to include what was going on with the speaker since the very inception of our Guardian. And it's like,
You know,
okay, oh, go for it, go for it.
I was just gonna say, the thing is, though, is if you don't participate, you don't know when you're getting manipulated. That's the thing. Like, you
Fair.
have to participate. So it's not like hindsight is going to be 2020 and after you read the web lore, but prior to it, it's not like you're going in and being like, oh, what is this little string? And then you go underneath the box and you hear the here lizard, 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 lizard. I mean, you don't,
You
it's
want
not
your
like that. It's
you
not
want your
like you're getting
balloon?
this right. I mean, I'm thinking the Taco Bell dog and the
Oh,
Godzilla
I was
commercial
going
from
with
back in
the
the
It
day.
movie, but okay. I
Well, that
think
works too.
I see you going a little bit more innocent than I
Slightly.
was.
But it's not a terrible trap. It's a very well thought out thing. And then yes, it happens after the fact that we find out, hey, we were actually tricked into doing this and providing that for them.
Mm-hmm.
I still think that's a clever narrative um, manipulation that helps explain things and helps bring that character back into a more prominent role.
That's fair. I mean, no, and it's fair. It's just one of those things where it's like, as one of those characters who's unwillingly getting duped constantly, I'm like, God, yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, yay loot, yay whisper. I'm like, oh man, that was.
Speaking of Whisper,
Oh, I'm not
did you
doing it.
know that there are? Oh, you're gonna have to if you're gonna get the if the triumph has anything to do with getting rid of the eyes. There are at least two eyes in the Whisper mission.
Oh, are there?
Hmm. I saw two. Now, granted, it's during the jumping puzzles before you get into the crazy rooms. I didn't finish it, but I went in there just to see
Hmm.
if there was anything in there, and also Cole was writing Termino, and she needed to know the name of the location in there, and it's just the Grove of Ulantan. But she wanted me to confirm it for her, so I did a quick whisper run, and yeah, there's Savathun eyes in there. Two of them, pretty easy to get to.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested in seeing how those get played. Because I mean, the other thing, and I guess minor spoilers, but not really spoilers, I guess, because with the sunsetting of planets, um,
Mm-hmm.
we have that in the open lore books that we have access to. I think that's Ingress and Egress. I
It's
think
duress and egress.
Egress. Okay,
Duress, yeah. So,
that
and
one.
that's actually that's a fun read,
Oh, that was
actually.
Sloane is a bamf. Like,
Right?
I mean, we always knew that, but like when she gets her mech suit, I'm like, what is going on?
I don't want to see it. Not gonna lie. I want to see Sloane
Oh
in a
my
mech.
gosh, I was so like I was reading it, I was like, oh no, you're giving a guardian even more even more powerful weapons.
But even Asher is portrayed in a way that is,
Oh
in
man.
my eyes, redeeming. Like he's sitting there staring down the pyramid, conducting an experiment on it, and realizing that it's not that everything's disappearing and going out of the world. It's just contained within the field of it, which is fascinating. And it's like, oh my gosh, Asher just is staring this down like it's nothing as it's
Um
coming towards
and
him and
then
just shooting things at
yeah, when he finally decides, nope, I'm gonna wipe you out, and
it.
just goes bonkers on it, like
Mhm.
I was like, I think that was the one I messaged you. I was like, oh, Asher just wiped out a ton. Had to censor myself. Ton of Vex inside. Like he just walks through the Pyramidium. Like he
Mhm.
just, I mean, and it's like that's when you start realizing that these characters that I know a lot of times the community, makes fun. Oh, Brother Vance. Brother
Mhm.
Vance's piece was disturbing and amazing. Like the whole thing of but you still have eyes. I'm like, what? Like
Mhm.
I mean, like so many of these characters that we've had, kind of you know, joking, looking down on, and they have these moments of being, yeah, I think you said it
Redeemed.
right, yeah, redeemed, or just demonstrated that yes, they actually do deserve the respect that the other NPCs give them. With the except of Brother Vance, which I don't think anybody respects him. But after this latest lore
Well,
book, I'm like,
he's not a
you got to get,
coward. It
well, you
it
have to
shows
tip
he's
his
not a
hat.
coward. Mhm.
No, yeah, so chat, no, Vance did not kill himself. Vance recognized that he was being manipulated and then attacked the thing that was manipulating him and gouged its eyes out with his own thumbs.
Yep.
And the reason why that is significant is that it was the same thing that made a mirror image of us. Vance attacked it and found out that not only did it make a mirror image of him, but it had remained. So we got confirmation. We get canonical confirmation fully that Vance is actually blind, which has been heavily
That
implied, but not actually ever called
mhm.
out. But
Mhm.
we also get confirmation that Vance does not have eyes. Like literally, his sockets are empty. And one of the things that one of like the ending lines in
Yeah,
Vance's
I have
piece,
it pulled up.
oh my God, it's such a, yeah, if you want to go ahead and read it.
So it's from the very last card of Duress and Egress called Vance Passeri. And the last two lines I'm going to read. It threw Vance on his back, but he held on. He pushed his hands up in the thing's face under its blindfold and dug in with his thumbs. It howled. How unfortunate, Vance thought to himself behind his wide smile, that you still have eyes. Like, that last line alone is just like, dang.
Vance Vance is not messing. Well, and then the other thing that we get confirmation is that Vance was given Vanguard authorization to lock down the Infinite Forest.
Yes.
Zavala actually reached out to him and told him, lock down the forest. We don't want them getting access to it. So that's why Vance was doing this all. And then the other thing that was just amazing, like just effing amazing, is that we learned that Vance is able to create reflections of himself within the forest. The thing that's important about that is those reflections are able to see. And so Vance is able to, through like this multiple man thing that Osiris was also doing, he's actually able to perceive like visually things around him at last, because now he has entered the forest, which is something that he has apparently always wanted to do but was always scared to do, or out of respect didn't do, because it was viewed probably as like akin to holy ground. But he's entered the forest. He's closed and sealed the forest, so he's basically protecting the forest for us against the encroaching darkness. and he confronted the thing. I think it was Trials and Tribulations. Everyone was having a field day with, basically Vance being the implement of the darkness. Vance takes that one-on-one and blinds it with his own hands, like literally. I mean, I know people have a love-hate, mostly hate relationship with Vance, but you can't not read his entries in this new lore book and not have some mode of respect for what he has done, at least here. But yeah, it's just Vance is like, and all of them have very similar things. Like Sloane has the mech thing where when she goes into battle with the mech, it's really, really fun to read.
Anna's the only one that you see actually, I think, take a little bit more hits than she does show off a bit, because we've seen her show off a lot these last 2 seasons.
I got the feeling that's because we have seen her show off, and I think it's an evening factor.
I think that's a great balance to what her character is, because she's already been portrayed as this very
she's very capable of herself.
I love that finisher, the Anna finisher, where you do the backflip that she does in the opening of season.
I haven't seen that one yet.
It's in the season pass.
Okay, I'll have to go look for it.
So good. Yeah, it's my favorite now. I am using that even on my Titan, which looks really funny. But it's okay.
Is the Egress book the one where we get the engram situation? Or was that a web
where
lore?
Anna puts that's an Egress as well.
Okay.
I think both the web I think it was pretty much just the
Egress.
The in-game, Egress, and both the in-game lore, because you had which I'm a little confused. That is my tiniest bit of beef at the moment with what's been going on with the story in-game, because the thing that you see at the very beginning of this season with Rasputin basically shutting down, what is not obviously it's not explained. It's just lights turn off, Anna gets put in the dark.
Yeah, because you also don't see Jinju running around doing her thing.
That's what I'm getting at, is the fact that you see they're two different situations. And I'm curious which one is actually the case. Like if Anna had to go from that situation in where Rasputin normally is to like a secondary location to try to pull that information out with Jinju.
I would say because the cutscene, if I remember, that was kind of in the mind lab, right? Whereas I kind of took
mind lab.
I was imagining the web lore or the lore piece as being where we see her in game. With the it's not the mind lab. I can't ever remember. It's like where she's surrounded by all the terminals. Because in the mind lab, it's kind of, you're just out on the bridge, with Rasputin's glowiness.
It's one of the adventures that you go into that one for. The server room, essentially.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't know if that's where they pulled it from. I don't remember if it said that in there. But
well, yeah, because actually, now that you say that, the the Alton Bray area too, Alton Dynamo.
The Alton Bray.
That's
the Alton Dynamo area, isn't it?
Alton Dynamo, yeah. That's the server room-esque area for him, whereas the mine lab is the giant suspended bridge, which is where the cutscene was.
Right.
Because it says that Jinju's running from screen to screen. I see. Like I would if I can talk, I would like to explain that. I was kind of imagining the cutscene as happening, and then like what you were saying, they ran to that to kind of see what was going on. That's kind of would be how it made sense in my head.
Yeah, it makes sense to me. It just wasn't super clear with the cards that that's where they were at, because it is mentioned the only thing that would indicate that would be the screen to screen. Not necessarily, like theoretically Anna could have multiple screens up there, and I want to say she does in the cutscene.
Yeah, she had.
I wasn't sure. The thing that I want to bring up with that, though, the engram, the implications of that. Anybody want to take a wild bet, a wild spin foil guess, and say that Rasputin gets put in an exo frame?
So I saw a really interesting, and I think the person who was posting it, I think, was being snarky, but it is still a good point. Um, it was a comment about how this was supposedly among the original, that supposed original story was Rasputin was
Yeah.
in an exo body and we have to rescue him. It was like, well, what if this is a kind of like uh, a refresh of that concept, and one of our future missions is actually us finding an exo body for him to like, or helping install him into an exo body.
That'd be cool. Do you
I was
remember
like,
the
I like
old
that. The
concept art
artwork.
they did?
Hmm.
Uh-huh.
That's
That
the
was
concept art.
labeled.
Yeah, yeah, that was the concept art that everyone refers to as being, the case of Rasputin in
Rasputin.
an exo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm
Because
looking forward to that one.
that has some really really cool potential.
That also makes him not so overly powerful
Hmm.
and more manageable as a character.
It's also more relatable too.
Mm-hmm. Humanizing him a little bit.
Hmm.
Did you get
Which,
to read
oh
through this
gosh, you say that.
humanizing him even
humanizing
more? Giving,
humanizing him even more. Oh man.
yeah, didn't we talk about how he somewhat portrayed emotions at the
Yeah,
death of
well, and I
Winter?
think I think it was you also that pointed out like the idea of like Fellwinter as the golem being his intermediary with the humans back in the golden age, potentially. Like
Mm-hmm.
they teach the golem, and then the golem relays it in code back to the Rasputin, which still makes a ton of sense in my mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, his whole point was to go out there and collect information for him, because that's what Rasputin says in that mission dialogue. He sent his son out to understand. Anyway, did you get to read Singular Exigent?
Yes, so good.
I would be very. I've not read this one yet. So I saw just scanning through it that there's mentions of a lot of former bad guys in the first one. Like Lysander comes up, Toland comes up. Granted, Toland's not necessarily a
There's
bad guy,
also a
but
breaking of the fourth wall and making fun.
where?
It's not a overt breaking, but there's a comment that Eris makes about how there are those out there who think that she is evil, and how like, and Matt made a
Oh,
Matt made a tweet about it. He's like, I feel attacked.
contrast. I see it. Yeah.
It's
Ooh,
like
evil is real.
I read it and I was like, oh, I can't wait for some people. And then Matt, like, I turned on Twitter and Matt was like, I feel attacked. I was like, yep, that's the person I was waiting to read to hear about.
Yep. Well, considering how many Eris's evil videos that man has made,
It just made me
that's
happy.
funny.
It's like,
Yeah, me too. Pineapples are still canon.
oh my
This is true.
god.
I
So,
love that joke.
someone
That is one of my
someone
favorite running gags.
someone made a comment. They're like, someone at Bungie really hates pineapples.
It's my favorite gag. I love like that Titan scannable is still one of my favorite scannable in the whole game.
Pineapples?
Like that's the weird one. There were other ones like something cucumber. What was
The
the
kiwi cucumber.
kiwi
Or the
cucumber?
yeah, I think
Like
that was it.
yeah, but pineapples?
That's the one we pick on.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I thought just the naming conventions. I'm sure that's mainly where the joke is. There's the picking on that, but
Oh my
God, yeah,
gosh.
that's fun.
It just I love that. There's yes, there is some like lore, significant lore things in it, but the couple like really just, again, with like the humanization of the characters has just, I think it's just really, in my opinion, been ramped up. I really think it has. Like Eris and the Drifters' little snarks back and forth
Oh,
are
they're
just
so
top
good.
notch. Like I love them.
You can
Um,
tell both those voice actors had a ton of fun recording that.
yeah,
Like Morla's, you rat. Just like I just want just that. I want that to be my message notification on my phone. Just you rat. Okay, Marla. It'd be so good. Oh
Well,
gosh.
and then like the big thing. So the other thing within the singular entries was like you see Eris's struggle with the idea of like it's the catch 22 of trying to figure out an enemy who gains strength from you trying to figure it out. And so like the paranoia that goes along with that, I really I like that because that's something that's like, very very human. And you see with her like she kind of has this moment of like freaking out because she starts descending into this paranoid state of like everyone is out to trick her. And like and I guess at the end of the book basically it kind of comes to a head. And one of the people that she was using to help her, she basically freaks out and is like, no, you have to get away from me, you're trying to use me. And it's like, okay, there's room enough there that you're not really sure if she was wrong, but at the
Mm-hmm.
same time it's very well done because she could just be overthinking everything. But then again, it's Savathun, so are you overthinking? Like, it's one of these like weird um, logic loops that it's like, oh man, it's just really fascinating to watch that particular development. And then like with the web lore, learning about how Nokris is kind of jacking with the communications going on and the seed, and like how that's kind of being used. It's like all these disparate pieces coming together have been really really cool to see actually in game. I mean, yet again, a really good use of both in-game storytelling and like that transmedia idea of that's not the only place to get information. It's
Right.
almost on the level of an ARG, but it's not quite an ARG because you have to pay attention to the tidbits in multiple places to make
You do.
anything really make sense. Which is always, to be fair, that's always kind of been Bungie's MO. And it's not
Right.
just
But
Bungie, but I'll go for it.
I think the nice thing with it is that with what they've given us in game, we actually have a pretty decent idea of the storyline without giving away too much. Like you're not
Yes.
giving away exactly what's in the lore cards. You have information that is interesting and the perspective is unique compared to the lore cards,
Mm-hmm.
which I like the first cutscene being Anna and the initial shutdown of Rasputin, and then the cutscene in the cards where Anna's going and gathering it.
Right.
I like how they're tying it together, where you're seeing more of the off-screen adventure of what
Yes.
happens
Yeah.
beyond the actual game, so it fleshes it out in a totally different way. The thing that I wanted to bring up next, though, was the actual tree. I that's a big thing right now on
Am I gonna
Twitter
get
of
another audio clip for you? There's no
an
snakes under
audio.
the tree.
There's no snakes under the tree. What's that from?
Yggdrasil, the episode. I think it was like
Oh
the other
yeah,
episode where he's like, "There's Eris." I was like, "Whoa!"
this is true. Eris is under the tree. Is that the clip you sent me today? I
That was
haven't I haven't
no,
listened to
it
them.
wasn't the one that I sent you today. It was one of the
Uh-huh.
ones for the other episode. But I was just like, Eris is a snake.
Well, yeah,
You're
not a
not
bad
wrong.
one. Not a bad one. But the tree itself and the play between light and dark this season with the nine and with the pyramid and the tree, which the tree is very much so appearances intended to look like the light and look like the traveler in some ways, as well as the infused light water at the base of it with the labyrinth.
Mm-hmm.
Do we want to bring that up? Like,
I mean, I
There's all
think
sorts of
that
different tie-ins.
yeah, there's tons of tie-ins with that. I think the other thing that always strikes me when you start talking about like the tree and anything with plant life is the dichotomy that has to exist with life. Like trees and plants in general, they both they need both light and dark to exist. And I think that's
Right.
really something that's really cool and really well done for the imagery of it because I just like that. I don't know. Like, I just really appreciate that subtle, like, no, it's not just light. Like, it's not just dark. It's both. That's what creates existence, or that's what creates life, really. But with like the labyrinth, it's something that was really what was it was the Charts, the Saint Char labyrinth, I believe, was the one that we were
Mm-hmm.
talking about the other day.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really, really fascinating thing because throughout multiple, real world religions and multiple real world cultures, that type of pattern has been used to help with meditation and to help with explaining things. Now, there's different types of labyrinths. So, like, you have labyrinths similar to the Labyrinth of Crete, which the Minotaur was famously involved in, which
Hedge
are
maze type labyrinth.
yeah, well, and those are going to be similar because those are actual mazes. Not
Mm-hmm.
all labyrinths are mazes, though, and the
Correct.
imagery that is associated with the Season of Arrivals is one of those such, or one of those patterns. If you follow the path within the imagery, it all paths lead to the center. Like that,
Mm-hmm.
it's a point of those were meditative tools because you didn't have to think about the path that you were taking. You just focused on what you were walking. Like, you just focused on walking.
The
And
journey. Oh,
yeah, I
wait.
mean, it's
It's not a it's
it's
not a
not a
variable
hundred.
journey necessarily, but
Right. It's not that the journey is not important, but it's what a lot of times, especially within Christianity, what when they used it with like the Saint Charles model, what it was indicative of like the path to receive a message and then to take that message back out into the world. So it was like basically the symbolism was you would leave the outside world and go inside and concentrate and meditate. And then once you had the message, or once you had a message or understanding, you would take that back with you back into the outer world. So it was a symbolic way of training your brain to turn off the trappings of materialism and focus on the inner voice within you, whether that, in within Christianity, they identifies that most meditations were identified as speaking with a divine being such as God. Other traditions also use those same designs for similar purposes, and it's always been fascinating to look at those different practices because of the
hmm
similarities within it. And it's all about getting your body and getting your mind to focus not on what's going on around you, but actually, to quiet your mind and listen to what's going on inside you. So I found that was really interesting. I had made a comment about that when the reveal trailer, when the reveal stream, they threw that on the loading screen, the Season of Arrivals, when we first saw the name of the season. It's a picture of the pyramid ship with the pyramid ship is positioned in the center of this labyrinth. And yeah, Black Flag is making the same comment. This is a throwback in a way to the old quote from Osiris, where all things come from
hmm
the same pit. And it's one of those things again where there's so many connections being made here, and it's just I mean, I can go on for a while with just like the meditative like theories and practices of that particular tool.
The,
Um,
the thing I'm curious about is because that is at the base of the tree,
mhm.
and Bungie loves its symbology. The point of having that there
So it's a journey
is
to the tree.
right. Well, it's a journey to the seed because the seed is the center, correct?
Yeah, I believe on that, on the way that they have it laid out, the seed is at the center of the, because that's what you and I were talking about the other day, is like there is in interference, there is an actual labyrinth, and the tree is like there's the tree where you pick up the seed. There is an actual labyrinth within the ground, or within
Mm-hmm.
the floor, if you will, of that
Right,
level.
the flooring of it. Right. That the thing that I want to know is because that imagery is so strongly used there at the base of the tree, what is our journey this season? Because right now, the mission that we do over and over is called interference. She's interfering our path to the seed each week,
Hmm. I mean,
or to the goal each week, right? Like that's the
right?
whole point of Zabathun getting in the way. Whether or not
Yeah.
the seed is necessarily the goal each week is yet to be determined. But why? That's another question. Why is there a seed each week? Because we have the seed, we have the artifact. You pick up a seed at the end, or at least you talk to Eris at the end, and the seed is there again.
Is it there again? I can't remember. I just ran it the two times. I can't remember if it was there on the second one. So I, that's interesting. It could,
I don't know yet. It's just one of those things. Like there's more
because
questions.
I don't think it's a different seed, right? I kind of get the sense that it
No,
is the same instance or same seed. Oh God, my brain just went to a different direction, because if we are
I.
true about the multiverse potential.
Oh God, no! I don't want to go into multiverse with this season, please.
Well, but I mean, if it would be an explanation of it being the same seed, but also being a
But that
different challenge.
but that means that we would have to go in a different dimension or in a
Mm-hmm.
different.
We cross through
I
throne
don't.
worlds.
That does no. No, I don't want to go
No,
there. I don't want to go there.
I don't.
I don't
I
care
don't
that
want
we
to
got
go to that
confirmation.
place.
I don't care that we got confirmation from Brother Vance that this is a multiverse.
Which
I
was
don't want to go there.
amazing confirmation, by the way. Love
Yeah.
that. You did
Oh
what?
no.
Get out of here.
Yeah. It's got what is it? It's got shot package.
Shot package, yeah. It's a god roll. How many realities did you bind to ours to get this gun?
Oh my god. That is one of the best confirmation moments I have
I
ever
loved
seen
it.
in
I
this
was
game.
like, I just
Making
fans,
fun of
and it was making
mhm.
fun of a Titan. Like,
Well, it was making fun of us because
right.
how many of us grind the same thing over and over just to get a certain role? It's just,
Oh yeah, that made me giggle.
he's.
But okay, so like, I mean, oh man, I never thought about like why. Well, I never thought about the C part. As far as like what the purpose of the mission is, like if you're gonna tie down with the idea of like the labyrinth,
Mm-hmm.
and like the principal purpose of a labyrinth was always to find, really to find yourself, which is the, arguably one of the central goals of any meditative practice, is to find that inner voice and find your true, calling, what have you, whatever you want, which is in line with kind of the lesson, I guess, if you want to call it that, that is trying to be taught to our guardian by the darkness, or supposedly trying to be taught to our guardian. Um, I mean, I don't know. Like, there's so many potentials that could go back and forth.
It's interesting that they've opened up the potential, right? Like that's the whole point of this is they've opened up the potential for not only a lot of things to be tied up, but for more to open up, which is kind of amazing that we're able to start pulling threads together. Because I guess this is a good question for kind of a final wrap up, right? Like, or final thoughts on the season so far. What is the burning question that you have for this season that you're looking forward to getting more answers about? That we've gotten possible hints from either this season or the fall expansion. We'll say those two.
Like what's one? Are you making me have
Mm-hmm.
to choose one? Oh god.
Okay, say a few.
Well, I mean, I don't even oh, there's so many.
Mara.
I mean,
I want to
yeah, I
see
mean like there's the
Mara.
continuation of like what is happening, you know. I don't think we're going to get an answer, but like what is the game that Savathun is playing at? With especially with false idol. I fully don't expect. I'm not gonna be. I'm not even upset that we don't get a full answer because I'm not expecting that. But you know,
Mm-hmm.
with false idol, you get this. Here's my hope, and this is just because I'm kind of a sadistic person, and I would love to see people's brains not like this. Is with false idol, you have the setup for a potential enemy of my enemy situation with Savathun.
Mm-hmm.
With the introduction of stasis, we have guardians who are delving into using darkness as power. Savathun expresses interest in learning how to use light as power within False Idol. So there is this continuous couple points here that all put us on a common thread with one of the former big bads of the Hive. So, I mean, there is an entire possibility, very slight, but still present possibility, that not only will we see an alliance with the House of Light and with the Fallen, but you could potentially see a faction of the Hive who are not hostile. Not necessarily friendly, I won't go that far, but who are not overtly hostile to Guardians because we have a common enemy in the darkness. You know, I mean, there's so many different
Mm.
ways that could be played. Now, do I think it will
I'm still
happen?
not even.
I don't
I
know.
still don't even. Here's something I want to bring everybody's attention to. The pyramids. Do we know that they're actually evil? Do
No.
we know that they actually have like bad intentions for
Malevolent
us?
intent? No.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Because the opening line when you fly out there in the very first mission is you will not need your weapons here. We only seek to show you the truth.
fair. Now, that's also a very convenient point that a liar would start a conversation. You know, anytime someone says, "Well, I'll be
Sure.
honest," I'm like, "Have you
Right.
not
And
been
that's
honest up
very
until now?"
that's
Like,
fair. That's fair. But we have two entities who have done that now, both Savathun
correct.
and
Like,
the pyramids.
right. And that's where my idea. That's where like that whole thing with Savathun as an enemy of my enemy kind of came into fruition. Is like, what if both sides are lying to us? Like, you
Oh,
know,
I'm
like,
sure both are.
right.
But the intent of one is not necessarily I don't necessarily think the intent of the pyramid ship is our imminent destruction.
I would agree with that.
I
I
think
would I would
they're
also point out that I don't think that our imminent destruction is going to be something that they
Oh,
stop.
no, I don't think so at all. But I don't think that
Yeah, because
at this moment
that's what Black Flag's saying in chat right now.
I still see Zavathun as potentially more dangerous at the moment because we know
Mm-hmm.
Zavathun has in the past infiltrated a group. She did it with I want to say the Ecumen
No,
or
she
the
did it
Harmony.
with the
The
Harmony,
Harmony.
with the Wish
Yeah,
Dragon or
so
with
she
Dragon Bishops.
right when she vivisect the wish
Yeah,
dragons.
she turned their oceans
Um
to poison. Yeah,
right. So she had infiltrated their group prior to taking them out and experimenting on them and doing what she was doing.
Yeah, I mean,
So
who can say no to a grandma with cookies?
I'm telling you, Eva Levante is Zavathun. That is my favorite. It's so stupid. It's such a stupid theory. And it was made as a joke, but it still makes sense.
The problem is
It's
that it
still,
still holds water. Like there's
I
still
know. It was a total joke. Total joke. Like, I was not serious when I came up with it.
That's why it's one of the
But
best.
now, I know, I know.
I refuse to believe Space Grandma is evil.
It, honestly, if I do think Zavathun may not necessarily be among us, although she theoretically could be, because the best place to hide is out in the open,
Mm-hmm.
and the last place you look intend to look. But I don't know. I don't know what her game is, besides that she is trying to move beyond the Worm Pact, which she has to an extent.
Right.
She's
I
also
mean, that's also nothing
she's
new for her.
But why is Zavathun so interested in not letting us find out what's going on with the pyramid?
See, and I think that goes back to why would she be so interested in us? Like there's and this kind of is
Power.
right. Well, power, and then also the ever, the trope of humans being able to create their own destiny, and that whole
Hmm.
thing. Like we are a new invention that has bypass, like we are able to defeat the hive, but we are not bound by something akin to the worm pact that we are aware of. Um, and for someone who is bound to the worm pact, I can see that being like, oh, how are they doing that? That's interesting, because the guardians hold power to. I mean, we took out the Taken King. Like that's not a small feat.
Right. It's the paracausality. It's
Right.
studying that
Yeah.
and being able to exit out of causality.
Well, but see, and
But
my problem with that being the case is that they already have that ability. Like the Hive siblings especially already have paracausal capabilities.
right, but they don't necessarily have free will to use it as they wish
Exactly.
because of the Worm Pact.
Right. And that's where I'm like, is that is and that's I guess my one of my big questions about Guardians in general is, so does that mean that we actually do have free will and that we're not bound, by a loyalty to a puppet master, basically?
I mean, I think that's easily been answered in the past. We have characters like Savin and gosh, I'm trying to think of some of the other Ghost Story characters who
Yeah,
were not
Cyril.
necessarily good. Cyril, oh God, Cyril.
That's the other character I
They're
really want to see come back.
I know. No, I
you want
don't want
you
to
want a
see
big
him.
bad? You want a big bad? Let's go protect Ghost.
I mean, God, there's a lot of things that I want to see. I want to see what the real reason is that everything is after the Guardians
Yeah,
because
I think that's, to me, one of my big interests is like what makes us in Destiny's universe, because I mean like every universe has its own little like humans are super special. That's a pretty common trope, but like why in Destiny is that such a driving force that things are coming from literally across the universe to get to
which
us?
the easy answer is the Traveler. But
Right.
why?
But why? But then the also question there is like, well, then why did the Traveler, like, what was the
Why
catalyst
did
to the whole thing coming to us? Was it
mhm.
just chance? Which, it
The
seems
Flower
interesting.
Game?
Well, it seems interesting that if it was just chance because the game is called Destiny. Um, I don't know. Like, there's like, and that's a really disorganized layout of a lot of my questions, because that's been something that that has bugged me since starting to really dive into lore, has been like, okay, but why are we the ones that were chosen to be at the center? What was the little kernel of interest there? Because I mean, yeah, I mean, if and then Veru's bringing that up too. It's like it's not just across the universe; it's across realities because the Nine are after us too.
Right. But it when the Nine came into the play and stuff like that is very different. Like the Nine came
Mm-hmm.
after the Traveler, so
Well,
or
they
at
made
least as far as
themselves
we can
known.
tell.
Yeah, they made
Correct.
themselves known after the Traveler, right? Yeah.
But I mean, we're starting to get some of those tie-ins together. I really want to get all the way through the dungeon. I might see if I can convince Orchid to help me through it since she's done it before. But I want to get through the dungeon. I want to know more about the Nine. I want to know what happened to Mara and Mara's interactions with the Exo Stranger because that's likely the connection that's going to be played on. Not necessarily anything confirmed on that, but if you remember, one of the last weeks we had where we talked to Mara, she said she made that new friend,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and
Everyone.
everybody was
Yeah.
yelling about the Exo Stranger. I wouldn't put it past them to actually make that the thing.
Yeah. There's other potentials.
Oh, yeah, there's
Exo Stranger.
plenty.
I mean, the Exo Stranger's not the only one who has a problem with Guardians. And again, that goes back to my kind of personal fan theory about the whole Savathun being a common ally. You know, it's like I don't know. There's just I mean, and there's so many players that get introduced when you start bringing the Awoken in, because the Awoken also were the ones that would have packs with the Ahamkara. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
well, the Ahamkara aren't really fond of Guardians because they had the great Ahamkara hunt. So what if this friend is an Ahamkara? You know, like there's a lot of different
God, I hope
things.
not. I don't know if I want to do another Alhamkara dive. Um,
Why? They're just playing with realities and making the reality that coexists with your wish the most one.
so does that mean that Ahamkara are going to basically be the same thing as the Vex network, pulling different realities?
I mean, as soon as they confirmed multiverse, that was kind of where I was like, oh, okay, that makes the Ahamkara make a lot more sense, because all they're
Mm-hmm.
doing is they're just pulling realities and splicing in the threads. The Vex, it's like the way I would look at it is like the Vex are like the Vex look at, and this is 100% head canon, not confirmed. So please just take that with a grain of salt. But like I always took it as like the Vex, and again, as soon as the multiverse kind of was like, that's what it is. I was like, okay, this kind of makes more sense. Vex are taking things from other realities and bringing them into our own, whereas the Ahamkara are literally taking other realities and synchronizing them with our own. So like when a wish is granted by an Ahamkara, it is literally taking a splice of the thread of another. Because again, going back to that like Norse mythology explanation of a weaving, you take a thread from another reality and you splice it into the thread of our own, making our wish real. You make that wish real. The thing is like, as with all manipulations of multiverse theories, what that does to the other verse is really devastating. Like when you start doing stuff like that, it's like it reminds me of Full Metal. Like you start like the terrible ending of the anime, the original anime was like they were jacking with a multiverse theory, which was like it was horrible because it wasn't really what was going on, but it was also like, oh, that's a kind of a cool concept. But really what it's doing is it's like taking pieces that are crucial to another universe, and you're taking pieces of another universe and you're literally forcing them into your world so that your world is better off. But what it does to that other world is it destroys it. Another really good example that might be a little bit more accessible to people who don't watch anime is the TV show Fringe. That's exactly what happens. That's like the large point of contention between the multiverses within the Fringe universe, is that I'm trying not to spoil it if you haven't seen it, but like basically a person from one universe gets stolen and kidnapped and brought into our universe.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
that
then
happens in a few different kind
yeah,
of stories.
DC plays with it a couple times too. But
Hmm.
like the whole thing was like, yeah, chat's talking about this too. Like the thing with Full Metal was like it was even more notorious, or it was even more disturbing because the people of the other universes were literal fuel for the alchemy of the primary universe. So like every time
Hmm.
the alchemist would cast a spell, they were literally consuming the life force of another person in the other universe. Like they were killing people to do their spells, and like, which is like, okay, that's bad. But then you start paying attention to like the spells that the alchemists were doing, and it's like stupid stuff, like making a toaster out of nothing, or making a toaster out of a couple elements. It was just like, yep. And Veru, that's exactly where I like my brain is going. He says, what if the darkness is just trying to repair the fractured realities?
Yeah, that's what I think. I don't think it's a malevolent force necessarily, but more an equalizer.
Like a winnower.
Oh, like we're a plague upon this land.
Yeah, like I mean, and that's another, that would be another really interesting way to use this the stereotypical trope of like, oh, you think you're good? No, you're actually evil. It's
Hmm.
like, which
Well, it's not that
then
we're evil. It's just we're
we're,
unnatural.
well, but if we are actually breaking other realities to the point that they're being
I,
destroyed, I think
right.
my point there is like, if we go down that path, I think what would be really interesting for me is, okay, cool, but you can argue, okay, well, we did that because we didn't know. Now that we know, are we going to be given a choice to relinquish our, like, relinquish the violations of nature that we've created?
You mean
Like,
like the symmetrist?
mm-hmm.
The other thing that I want to bring up, I'm going to slightly derail this conversation because this
Do
is a
it.
whole episode
This is a whole
essentially.
conversation.
It is. It really is. Amalon. Why
Yes.
is
Why
Amalon?
that and Dido? Why is that all of a
Yeah,
sudden? Okay, I'm
like
so glad
I'm
you
happy.
brought that up. Oh
I'm
my
happy
gosh.
for it. I'm glad to get Dido and Amalon weapons again. But how in the world did they get? Did they start hanging out with Drifter a bit more in the back
Well,
alley?
Drifter always has a soft spot for dark or pre-dark age and dark age weaponry. He's always made that comment, which I don't really understand the fascination with Amalon, because Amalon has kind of always been more of like a throwback to maybe golden age, but like his what was the train job that he pulled with Joxer, which, oh man, speaking of that, Joxer
Mm-hmm.
redeeming himself that way, that was a fascinating read. Um, his penance was to be the messenger to the Drifter. That was really, I was like, that's some interesting penance there. But like, I thought, wasn't it or was it Tex Mechanica weapons that he was stealing on the train job?
I think it was Tex.
Was it Tex? Okay, man.
Mm-hmm.
I was just really confused why the dungeon is giving Dido gear. I was like, what? Like, okay.
Tied into the nine somehow. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how it goes, like how these different characters play out. Because in some ways, the Foundries have made themselves a character
Mm-hmm.
in this narrative.
Oh yeah, yeah. If nothing more than a political like thing. Thank you. I think it's Killorn. Yeah, it's Tex Mechanica was what he was after in the train
Mm-hmm.
job.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think we should actually wrap up because we could probably ramble on this for a
Yes,
very long time.
that is entirely accurate, and I will be the first to admit that I will just like talk about that. Like, there's so many different
Mm-hmm.
threads, and I think that's the conclusion really for me, and kind of like the concluding thoughts about this season from a lore perspective, is that, as is standard for Bungie, they have answered questions, but the answers of those questions have only brought like 10 times more questions, which is
Mm-hmm.
both I love, but I also hate a little bit because I'm like, no, just
A little frustrating.
let me finish the story.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I'm
But
done, you just pull me back in.
but here's the thing: we had a season where they finished off stories, and every lore person was miserable.
Yeah. I
Like
mean, well, I
they
mean,
wrap when they if we don't have something to chase, we're not excited,
oh
right?
yeah,
Like
no,
that's
that's
the
true.
whole. So I think that the model of giving us threads to chase and continually work and to challenge us to find new things and find new levels of love for it, right?
Mm-hmm.
That is what makes this enjoyable for you and I, as well as Bife and Mylan and any other lore content creator out there, Wally, all of those guys. Like, we love to dive into the mystery and try to figure out things, but what we love even more is watching these characters and stories grow and develop. And even if it doesn't develop the way we want it to,
Oh,
it's still
especially if it
cool to
doesn't
see which.
develop. Yeah.
Right. It
I
makes
mean,
it really interesting and fun to dive into.
yeah. I won't speak for myself. Like half the time, what makes it actually really entertaining for me is when it doesn't fit, because then it's like I get to rework everything else that was contingent on that theory. So
It,
I know that infuriates some people. Um, I find that absolutely fascinating.
mhm. Should we do shout outs? If that wasn't
Yes.
already kind of shout outs?
Sure. Yes. Yes and yes.
Yes and yes. All right. So shout out for me for this episode goes to the narrative leads for this one, the narrative lead for this one. Remind me of her name, Blue.
Julie. Oh, I just blanked on her last name.
Yeah, I could see
I
her
think it's
Twitter.
Naren. I think it's Naren. Oh, I feel
Shout outs to
terrible. I
her
feel terrible.
for this really. It's this season is the build up to what supposedly redacted is season of the redacted, right? So it's a big job, and so far it's been knocked out of the park. I'm enjoying what we've gotten as far as the story in game and the story that we've gotten out of game. So good on you for that. Good on the writers. I'm enjoying the Julia Nardine.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm enjoying the various ties, the various stories for all the different characters. It's been fun. And it's going to continue to be fun, I think, with the way that the story is unraveling this season. Secondary shout out goes to the community for being a a very interesting group of people who will get up in arms about AFK farming one day, but still have your back the next day if something goes wrong. So shout out to you guys for being a slightly confusing double-edged sword that we all love.
I think that's the best explanation for the Destiny community. A slightly confusing double-edged sword. You don't really know which edge you're gonna get, but if something goes
This
wrong,
is
you know that it will be used to defend you.
Yep, that is accurate.
I love it. I love it.
Thank you. Question mark.
Thank you. Oh, that's a Colossus. I don't need to go around that corner. No, I kind of, I mean, just yeah, second, everything that Green just said, like, and then also a big shout out to everyone who has helped with the Lore Network and everyone who has come. We have a number of new members in the Lore Network, and I really really encourage you to go and give them support and let them know how they're doing on their stuff. Most of them are on YouTube, and they are being included in the weekly lore roundups. So
Mhm.
if you do not already get that, I might try to figure out how to get an email thing put together for it. I don't know. I
Ooh.
don't know
Like a
if that.
subscription type thing?
Yeah, I was looking at something and they had made a comment like about like, oh, well, emails are a really good way of doing, stuff, and I'm like, I have no idea. I don't do social media stuff, so I'm gonna talk to a couple of our people who we have helping us, Green being one, for the social media stuff. And the fact that she just made a ooh sound means that I might have gotten an idea that was good.
Mm-hmm.
It does happen from time to time. I know it surprises everyone,
Mm-hmm.
but no, it just, if you aren't already going to that site and checking it out, please do, because what we do is we do a roundup every week of not just YouTube but also podcasts. So as we get more people within the membership, we'll get those on there, and basically it just is a way to kind of, I've referred to it as just kind of cross pollinating our communities with each other. And I know that in the past that has been a struggle that a lot of lore creators, not just within Destiny, but like just in general, have had, is it's very difficult to find people who are, it seems silly, but it's really difficult to find people who are interested in the same stuff that you're interested in, sometimes. And the internet kind of is also a double-edged sword with that. So big thanks to everyone who has kind of helped make that become a reality in and of itself. I think that is it for me. So as always, to close out, I just want to thank you for your time and say until next time, remember, with wisdom we conquer, stand strong, stand tall, and keep exploring. I don't think we're going to beat him.
No, probably not. I can't see your timer either, but
Minute and 45.
you might be able to.
I
Depending on how many of you there are, I
I
don't see how many.
think there are. Oh yeah, there's two of us. We're not doing that. Nope, three. Wait, someone
The,
just showed up.
the other
Oh my
thing
god, these
that
fucking wizards.
for those of you who are still in live chat, one of the things I am working on, I am putting together lore audiobooks in podcast form that are going to be going up on the Lore Network. And I have Marasina Part 1 done. I just need Blue to listen to it to make sure it sounds good.
Yes, I have it on my list of things I was going to do, and then we got the
It's
SBA.
okay.
The SBA
No, you're
decided that they
good.
were going to reopen PvP loans, and it was like, no.
Ooh.
Which, I mean, it's good. It's good. It's just like, I was like, I thought we were done.
Right. No, it's fine. It's just literally, I just need you to check the audio levels and make sure the levels sound good and the cards are fine. Like, it's a very set up system that I have going on. Yeah, I saw Black Flag. I kind of have been trolling Twitter a little bit.
Dancing, I have not started season 2 just yet. I am working my way through Avatar at the moment. I'm on the last book of Avatar. And then if I don't get yelled at, I'm going to jump over to season 2 of Dark. I also don't want to ruin it because like I love the cliffhanger of season 1. Like that was just the best way to end a TV show. And I'm like, I don't want to ruin it. Like it's just it was so good. You need to
Yeah.
distance test too. Oh god. That makes me nervous actually. Yeah, have you watched Dark at all? Have you watched any of it?
Nope. Mm-mm. I don't even know. Considering, okay, so I watched a movie for the first time in a long time
I
last night with my wife.
saw. I'm so proud of you.
It was a suggestion from one of our clients called Troop Zero,
Yes.
which is, have you seen it?
I have not seen it. I've seen plenty of advertisements. I think it's on Hulu. They're like every other
Amazon
ad
Prime.
or Amazon. Well,
Amazon Prime.
oh, okay, maybe I'm trying to remember. There's one of the services that we have that like I swear to God, every other advertisement is for Troop Zero, and
Yeah,
it's like I'm
so
like,
it's a cute show. It's about a bunch of nobodies, essentially. And it's a fairly realistic outcome to like the story actually makes sense. Like they don't win, they don't get the big prize at the end kind of thing. I was a little upset because they still got the one thing at the end that they probably shouldn't have gotten, but you still see them overcome some difficulties.
Mm-hmm.
I cried like a fucking baby.
That's the tweet I
Uh,
saw. Are you okay?
yep,
Yes.
yep, that's exactly what it was. I cry so much at movies because I end up feeling what those characters are feeling, and it's not pretty. I ugly cry, guys. Like it is a real thing. There's a reason I play video games because I can control what shit I see.
So you don't have to worry about that being dark because it's not sad. it's not really
Yeah,
it's not really
but
scary, but it's
but
time
like
travel.
emotionally, well, okay, yeah, and it's just I also just don't watch a whole lot of things. I'll watch comedy, but even
Mm-hmm.
certain comedies are a little bit intense. Trying to remember her name. There's an Australian comedian. I talked about her last week with Ice Warrior.
Oh yeah.
Hel-
Yeah.
Helena Gadsby, I think is her
Yes. Yeah, I
name,
think that's
or
right.
Helen Gadsby. God, like I love stand-up comedy. I think it's so smart, and they can make you feel too. But damn, I'm not going to bawl like a stinking baby for that kind of stuff, though. Stasis Warrior. Oh, I'm sorry, Varu. Excuse me. Excuse me. Stasis Warrior. Did you see the images for that, by the way?
Uh,
They
no.
released some new images for the supers.
Oh,
Hunters have essentially ice picks
yeah, they're Tomb Raider.
in their hands. Yeah. And
They're
then
dual
it
wielding
looks like
Tomb
a
Raider.
semi trident. It's not a trident, but like this, it's a long spear. Warlocks have that, and I couldn't tell what the Titans were.
The Warlocks have a trident. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
That kind of doubles down on
Oh,
the
shit.
whole Dawnblade type concept with it
Do you have
being
the audio drop link?
uh yes.
Question mark?
You should have access to it. I think I looked at that because I think it's shared with you
Um,
technically, but I can get a link. Hang on.
where's it hidden then? Because the only folders I have
That is
left,
also an excellent question because
I, the, f-
I might be a little bit too good at hiding things.
yeah, so I have the folders I have from FFC are the show notes folder, the image drop folder, and the FFC banner whip.
You should have
That
featured
is it.
audio. You
I
have.
got I got rid of a bunch. Well, I probably did at some point, but
Oh
because I was
yeah,
frantically trying to delete things to have space,
that's right. I remember that.
yeah. So I
Oh
need that
no!
one again, please.
Give me back.
Where do mansplainers get water from? I don't know. A well, actually. you made you made Blue Wheeze.
I knew that one too. That's what made it even worse.
Have a good night, Z.
Oh, happy
Yay. Oh,
birthday!
it's your birthday? Happy birthday, Z. You and
Very,
Raz have
very
the
good
same
job at hiding
birthday.
it from everybody.
No kidding. I'm going to put it on my Actually, no, I'm just going to remember because you and Raz have the same birthday then. That is a terrifying thought.
Happy womb rage quit day. Oh my god. I have not seen that in a long time. Oh shit. I forgot about that.
Oh, man. All sorts of B days. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. All right. So
When did
you
I
and
get
Raz
it?
freaked out together. That's cute.
I swear. Okay. I was like, if I swear to God, if I get another Assassin's Cowl, I'm just shutting the game off. At this point, I would have, I'm like, that would have been the fifth in the last 48 hours of that stupid exotic. And it was so frustrating because it wasn't even something I could infuse. Like
Oh, really?
it wasn't even like higher light level. It was literally like four below what I would currently have.
That's weird.
I'm like, really? You guys are assholes.
That's really weird, actually.
All my exotics are dropping below. Like
Hmm.
the one that I just got. Oh, that one actually did. Okay, as soon as I say it, it doesn't. Because that one actually is 3 above. Okay, I might be able to jump to. I don't know. I might not.
Less than a minute left.
Also, the most ugly boots.
Which boots?
The Frumia set. I can't stand those boots. These right here. Like, what the hell is that?
I like those boots.
No.
Actually, I like those pants more than I like
Oh
those
yeah, okay.
boots.
I'll give you that. Like the pants are, they're not horrible, but the boots are just like, what the fuck happened to your toe?
I have just adapted. I bought last season's
That's
outfit, the streetwear, and I've just those are my
oh
pants. I like
oh
my
yeah.
snake pants.
I like the actually I really like this season's
Thanks, butt
aesthetic.
coffee.
Thanks, coffee. Like the arms of last season's are, oh, I love them. But this season's base aesthetic, I love the cape. Like I really like that cloak.
I hate the cape.
Really? Really?
Yeah,
Did you like
I
last
can't
season's
stand.
cloak?
I have last season's cloak on. I can't stand this cape because I feel
Tell us
it's
how you
more
really
that
feel.
aesthetic. I know it's the aesthetic from SRL. It's that thin
Oh, see,
cape,
that's
right?
why I love it. That's why I
I
love it.
don't like that. I
Oh,
never
yeah.
liked that. Even the
Extra pointy for
SRL one, I
kicking.
didn't. Yeah, I can't stand it. It's just
See,
it's
I
one of
was I was the one that
nope.
I got the light trails cloak
Mm,
that basically wasn't a cloak, it was just the two laser lights. And I was like, this
right.
is not that, I never took it off. Like I was like, this is mine.
Those were the Scion Flare cloaks, right?
No, no, not the Scion Flare ones, the SRL ones. The ones that would extend if you were
Uh,
racing. They would actually
gotcha.
become trails. Oh my gosh, I love that cloak. I was like, yeah. Then I found out about the Scion flares, and I was like, I tried it for like a week or so to get those, and I didn't even get one. I was like, nah, I don't care that much. All right, let's see how many of these module things do I need? Hmm.
Oh,
One.
goodness. You know what? That my basically I'm bored, blow my mind tweet this morning.
Uh huh.
That blow my mind, I dare you. It has more responses than I've had on a tweet in a long time. I have 72 responses of people I don't even know that are just like giving me random facts. And it's brilliant. It's like, well, shit, I should have been doing this for a long ass time. This is great. I'm learning about octopus, octopi,
Octopode.
octopussies. I don't know.
I think it's technical. I think that was one of the ones that's
Octopi.
like, it's actually Octopode. Um, I
That's so
remember.
dumb.
Well, it's because, oh god, what is it? It's because it's not a Latin based word. It's a Greek based word, and I guess like
Oh, really?
I had some, or maybe it's something like that. But like I had someone who was a classic, like actually classical literature major, like sit down and be like, no, it's actually octopod or octopode. But everyone, because everyone refers to it as octopi, it's been like just accepted. It's like the word forte. Technically, you pronounce it fort. It's not actually pronounced
Forte.
forte.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
I've had so many people who were like, which,
In
but
in music, forte.
well, okay, but a forte in music is different than the, like, if it's your forte, and forte in music is its own thing. Forte is like a special, like the use of the word as like a specialty, like someone that you're like something that you're especially good at.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's just I think the reason why I got adapted to forte is
The
because
older
of
pictures of
music.
us get, the younger we look. but I took a nap and forgot. That's an excellent excuse. I'm like, I forgot.
Yeah, it's fine. He's fine. Okay. I need sleep. I need... Also, apparently my stomach has been loud as fuck today. I don't know if you could hear it.
Mm-mm.
I was worried a few times. It's just been like grumbling. I'm like watching my
I'm not happy with the decisions that you've made.
with my decisions?
No, your
What?
stomach. Your stomach is not happy with the
Yeah.
decisions.
No, I had Chipotle and it was delicious and it can fuck off. But the I've been watching my voice meter potato for my voice feed to make sure I don't peak at any point, right? Like I'm trying to keep my voice at a certain level, and I swear my stomach has shown up on that voice feed a few times. I'm so disturbed. Like this mic is either that hot or my stomach is that loud.
You said,
Night,
sorry,
Neo.
your sidearm, you said Enigma's Draw was the one?
Correct.
Okay, I just got one with Grave Robber and Rangefinder.
Rangefinder's nice. You might want
Oh, okay, I see what you're
that
saying.
will.
The Future War Cult.
Yep, it is the Future War Cult one. What's the masterwork?
I don't know. Range? Is that right? The tier thing?
Yes.
Range.
Yep. That's actually not too bad. The first, what did you say it was? It wasn't Demolitionist.
Grave Robber.
What was the first? Yeah,
Yeah,
it could be worse.
Yeah,
it's
it could
bad.
be worse.
It's fun to play with though.
Alloy
That's actually what Raz
faster
uses
reload.
all the time.
Oh, when the magazine's empty, that's never gonna happen.
That's actually what Raz. That's funny. That's what Raz uses, though.
That's the reason. That's the reason I can't play with certain guns in Borderlands. It's like, wait, you don't reload every 5 seconds? No.
Wait, you throw the gun?
Oh my, that gun makes sense to me. It's the one that like you can't like if you as you get lower in the ammo cartridge, you do more damage, I think is what it is. But like you can't like because if you reload it resets the damage counter. I'm like, oh god. No, I'm a compulsive. That's what Halo SWAT has done to me.
Mm-hmm. You know, there are certain game types that benefit you to not reload each 5 seconds.
I don't play those. I don't understand those.
Nope. You know what you just need to do? Just stick with a bow. Then you don't have to worry about it.
That's my philosophy. I have been repeatedly encouraged by Destiny to do exactly that.
Oh my god. Do you see what Black Flag just put? Gigs is streaming Say No to Rage's follower count dropping.
Oh no.
Cole was thinking about doing that. She actually has been watching it. She's messaged me a few times thinking it's so cathartic to actually see him.
Is it actually
I don't know.
bad?
I don't know. I had no idea how big his follower count was to begin with. I don't know what it dropped to.
No, it's dropped.
He posted.
It's dropped about 4,000.
He posted an apology, which was half-assed, as you would imagine. Yeah, he also made his wife sit there while he gave it.
Mm-hmm.
He's lost about 5K. I wonder, I don't know. It's such a shitty, weird ending to the day. But, all right. I'm going to head off, guys. You guys have a good night. Sleep well. Don't stay up too late watching the Schadenfreude of Say No to Rage. Oh, man.
Oh man.
Thing is he actually has a pretty decent handle perspective wise on a lot of things, but this fuck up just ruined it for me. Like there's a lot of things that he said in the past that I would agree with, but
Oh,
this
that's the
just
thing. It's
pushed me
like
over the edge.
I'm like, oh man. All right, guys, stream. You guys have a great night. We will see you next. Well, yeah, next week is going to be the fun week because Green's going to be streaming next week.
Yay! Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Ruru. That's because I have some German in my history. I have some German background. Anyway, yes, I'd be streaming. I gotta figure out how to do that again.
Oh!
Night. Hype.